now is your biggest struggle when it comes to creating thumbnails? So if you would like to share what your biggest struggle is right now, raise your hand by using the reaction so that way we can kind of discuss what it is that you're dealing with when you've been trying to create thumbnails for your video so far. So let me put it on gallery mode so I can see everybody. Let's see. Okay, I don't see no hands going up. But also was in the chat, not having recent photos and not being able to, or not being a good posing to take of self, or not posing, taking good selfies. Okay, getting clients to share different photos that match. Felicia, can you elaborate on that? Hey guys, we coming off mute today, y'all. We're gonna participate. So Felicia, if you can come off mute and share, like, what do you mean when you say getting clients to share different photos that match?
Hi, yes. I have one client that I do her YouTube channel, and
Mm-hmm.
majority of her interaction just in front of her computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, if you send me some pictures, kind of, to match your thumbnail that I can, like pointing or things like that, I just have
Right.
her stationary. So make it more exciting because your thumbnail is the first thing people see. And
Exactly.
that's my problem is like, I need like stand in the kitchen or look surprised, something. So
What
it's
kind of
getting,
content what kind of content did you say she creates?
she's a coach. She's a seven
Okay.
figure coach. Yeah. And so
Okay.
all of our pictures I'm using are like from years ago. I don't have anything current.
Mm.
And I don't want to use all the pictures of her just sitting in front of the computer at her mic.
Is there a reason why she's not creating the photos for you to use on the thumbnails?
Only thing I can think, maybe she's too busy. I don't know. But I'm trying to get her to give me some more photos.
Does she batch record her videos?
She's working on that. She's creating some other programs, so she's a little behind. But yeah, we're working on that.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So yeah, when we start going into like creating thumbnails fast and stuff, because for one, she's definitely gonna need to take some pictures.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the training, you'll kind of be able to give her some tips in reference to how to get multiple. So that way she could do one thumbnail shoot and get a lot of different photos. And then you can kind of rotate those on her thumbnail pictures and stuff in the future. Now, Indiana, you said not having recent photos and not being able to do good posing and take selfies. So do you want to elaborate on what's going on with when you're creating your thumbnails, Indiana? Let me see if I can find you on here. There you go.
Hey, I'm probably just like the client Felicia just said. I don't really know how to, look surprised, look in awe. I can point, I mean, but I can't. It's really hard to give yourself directives. And I basically talk about, journaling. So
Mhm.
I can hold a book, or something like that.
Right.
But once I get in, and then once I get into the batch recording, I be done forgot, girl, you ain't take no photos. You ain't nothing. So it's just one of those things. Then when I do take photos, then I get ready to make the selfie, the thumbnail. I'm too far away. I'm like, what the world? I'm too
Yeah,
far
okay.
away, and it's hard to cut myself out and put this. And I'm like, so this is weird.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. So, and then because you do like a lot of journal video or a lot of journal content and planning videos, I could definitely see that. Because for you, right off the bat, I would say like hold your planners or hold your journals in your thumbnail, like almost every single last one.
Mhm.
You should probably be holding some type of journal or planner or even like a pen or something like that. But I definitely understand that. So, for what it sounds like to me is it would be helpful for you to learn exactly how to position yourself in your thumbnails, to know like how close do I need to be to the camera, like how to make sure that when I crop myself out that it makes sense for that actual thumbnail that I'm creating, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I got you. I got you. All right, who else would like to share when it comes to creating their thumbnails? What is your biggest struggle right now when you're trying to create your thumbnails for your YouTube videos? Monty, I hear you off of mute. You want to share?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't think I really have an issue with thumbnails. It's just I want to make sure it stands out. Like I don't want to put too much text on the screen. Since you remember from yesterday, I said I do couponing, but
Right.
when I'm looking at my different competitors, sometimes they have like words on the thumbnail, and then sometimes I just show the product. So I'm trying to figure out, should I still do both? I want to stand out. I don't want to have the same, okay, this, because this couponer has all her items posted on her thumbnail. I'm supposed to do the same thing. Like I want to stand out, but I still want it to be catchy. Like I still want people to click.
Got you. Okay. So, and I'm glad that you came today because I actually have a couponing YouTube channel that I have saved that we're going to kind of go over today. So you'll get to see some examples of couponing thumbnails specifically that has them in their photos. So I'm really excited about that for you because that'll kind of give you some ideas of things that you can do as well with your thumbnails. And I've seen the YouTube videos on couponing, and there are two different ones. So I've seen people where they do include all of the stuff. And then I see some where they have them in the photo, but then they also have the stuff kind of in the background or wherever. So there's multiple different ways that you can do that for the couponing video specifically. And we'll go into a little bit more when we get to showing real examples of thumbnails. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Is it Jamia Jones? I don't want to mess your name up. Or Jeremiah?
Jamia.
Okay, Jamia. Okay, you can go ahead. What is your biggest struggle right now?
I would just say adding the right font or finding a good font for whatever thumbnail I'm creating. And then also just adding little details. It's not like overpowering for my thumbnail and stuff like that.
Okay. And what kind of videos do you create?
I create like mind, body, soul type of self-care, women empowerment videos.
Okay, so self-care, women empowerment. Okay, so you brought up a good point with the fonts. We're definitely going to go over how to come up with a signature thumbnail where you already have your fonts. Because the thing is, once you find your signature font, then you can use that for all of your YouTube thumbnails for the most part. And that's also a part of brand recognition as well on YouTube specifically. So what I find is the easiest way to do this, I'll just kind of throw a tip out there real quick. The easiest way to do this is to actually use fonts that are provided on Canva. So I mean, I would assume that everyone on here is already using Canva to create their thumbnails. I hope you are. If you're not, use Canva. But Canva actually has templates for thumbnail examples. And it's not that I recommend that you use their templates specifically, but they will save you a lot of time when you're trying to find fonts that are easily readable whenever you are on your home feed or whenever someone comes across your video. So finding a font that they're already showcasing in their templates is a great way to find a beginner font that you can start using across your thumbnail. So I hope that that's going to be helpful, but we'll dive a little bit deeper into that later on in the training. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty helpful.
Okay, great. All right. And Yandi, I see you have your hand up.
Yes. Are you guys hearing me?
I can.
Okay. I mean, I think my question is just to piggyback on what Jemiah just said. My thing mostly, I'm now starting to kind of get a feel around it. But in terms of the theme, like how do you determine theme of thumbnail to use? Like for example, most of your videos, the themes and the colors are so soft and they're, pretty festive, but yet nice and catchy. So how do you determine on a theme or a style of thumbnail to use? Because I will be talking most about budgeting, money, finance generally. So yeah, that's kind of my question.
Okay, that's actually a really good question. So in reference to finding your style, we're going to kind of go over that in the real examples as well. But finding your style is really up to you. So when I was doing research before this class, because I was actually trying to get some real YouTube channels that have completely different types of thumbnails so that I can show you different ways that you can do your thumbnails outside of just my niche specifically. So I tried to find some real estate type of thumbnails and like some different coaches and just different type of categories, because there are different styles. You can either do like an aesthetic style where you're showing like your background and you're putting like the words right here. Some people don't even put words on their thumbnails, but their background in their picture showcases what the video is going to be about. And then there's some people that just plug them on the left or the right side. They put a solid background or maybe put something in the blur or blur something in the background and just put their words on the side right here. I have seen all of these different styles perform well on YouTube. So it's really easier when you decide what's going to be easier for you. So I know in a previous training, a couple people mentioned, like, what if I don't have an aesthetically pleasing background? Like, how can I get started if I don't have an office space or a recording space to be able to like look presentable in my thumbnail? Well, that's when that's going to help you out, because there are options for you to choose from. So when we go into showing the real thumbnails, then hopefully that's going to help you. Okay, Ayandi? She back on mute. Okay. All right. So I'll allow one more person to go if you want.
I got it. I got it.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
You're
Yes.
welcome. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to share what their biggest struggle is right now when it comes to creating thumbnails? Anything different from what everybody else said so far? You can either raise your hand or you can come off mute. Shawnita, did you want to go? I see you're off mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move to the next thing. So now that you guys have shared your biggest struggle, I'm going to go ahead and start teaching you what you need to do that's going to make a thumbnail clickable. Because at the end of the day, we want our thumbnail to entice a click. That's the whole purpose of the thumbnail. And so the very first thing, and I know a lot of people try to hide from this one, but the very first thing that you need to do is to actually be in your thumbnails, guys. You are your brand, and being in the thumbnail is so important because, for one, you're giving people a first impression of your video. And when I say you're giving someone a first impression of your video, you're kind of showcasing your personality a little bit, but you're also letting people know who's recording this video. And we're women. I know for me, when I'm on YouTube, I tend to watch women's content over watching men's content, because I feel that women deliver their information slightly differently. And I just find that I resonate through women's content more than I resonate through a man's content. And there's other people that are going to look at your thumbnail and see you on there, especially if you're a Black woman or a white woman or whatever. And they're going to be like, oh, you know what? I want to watch this person over these other people on here because I want to support them and see what they have to say. So you want people to see themselves in you, and they're not going to be able to do that if you're not in your thumbnail. So that's the very first thing. The second thing is this is going to help with brand awareness. And I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit later in the slides, but you want to be in every single thumbnail, or well, depending on, because like the girl that's doing couponing, so you can kind of rotate. Even like the planner content, you can kind of rotate with that as well. But you want to train your audience to know whose content this is, because once they do subscribe, it's going to be easier for them to want to click on your future videos. So that's the first thing. And then the next one, let's see. The next one is you want to pique curiosity. So this is through using emotion. This is through putting logos or putting a question, like this girl right here, Shelby Church. She put the truth, and you don't even have to see the title of her video, and you can kind of know what her video is going to be about. You know, it's going to have something to do with Airbnb. She doesn't look like she's having a good experience because she has her thumb down, and then she has the truth behind it. So anyone that is curious about pursuing Airbnb is going to be enticed to click on this video because they're like, oh, everybody's been talking so good about Airbnb. I wonder what her truth is in reference to her Airbnb experience. Same thing like this girl. So she has social media on there. You know instantly that her video is going to be talking about social media in some type of way. But she also has at the bottom, social media is changing in 2024. So this is a big curiosity piquer, because if you are using social media to grow your business, or if you're trying to grow your brand on social media, and she's saying like, oh, it's changing, you're now curious, like, oh, what's changing? And a lot of people create this type of stuff at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, or if something starts to trend, then people like to do oh, this is changing. You know, the real estate market is changing, or the buyer's market is changing. And so anybody that is in that space becomes curious about what you're going to talk about in that video. Another way that you can create a clickable thumbnail is by showing stats and showing numbers. So it's something about putting numbers in your thumbnail that entices a click. Now, obviously, you got to have numbers in order to put numbers. So you don't want to like put clickbait numbers where you ain't really hit those, or you're not really going to talk about that in the video. But at certain points, you can put numbers in there, like how this woman, Silicon Valley girl, she put that I made $1 million in selling online courses. So you automatically know before clicking on her video or looking at her title that she's going to be talking about selling courses, and she's going to be talking about how she made a lot of money from it. And then this girl right here, My Freedom Empire, she actually has a YouTube channel on creating planners, self-publishing, and she uses KDP. She talks about Lulu and a couple different printing companies as well. But she also teaches you how to make money from selling books online. And you can tell by this thumbnail right now that she's teaching you how to sell a lot of books per month. And you know that she's going to be referencing Amazon KDP in this video without ever seeing her title. So that's what I mean when I say showing stats for your YouTube thumbnails. You won't do this all the time, but if you can add numbers into your videos, then that's going to be really helpful. The next one is using emotional expressions. So I know it's cringy sometimes, and I know it can be corny. Okay, let's just be honest. Sometimes it can be corny to you to try to create emotional type of thumbnail photos when you're actually in the act of doing your thumbnail shoot, but emotions work. You want to set the tone in that thumbnail for whatever that type of content is going to be. So if you look at Matt Duval, or I don't know how to say his last name, Matt Del I don't know his last name, but he does a lot of emotional thumbnails, and he doesn't even really put a title or anything or any type of words on his thumbnail, but almost every single thumbnail that he creates shows some type of emotion to make you want to entice to click. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say this thumbnail right here was about like, are you tired of doing something? I can't remember. Are you overwhelmed or feel overworked? I can't remember what the name of the title was now, but you can tell through the thumbnail that he's tired of something, that he has his laptop right there, and you can sympathize instantly with his picture before ever knowing what the video was about. And then my girl, Catherine Manning. I love Catherine Manning. You can see like in her video, in her thumbnail, it tells you what the video is going to be about. She's finally monetized. She looks so excited. You could tell that she's really, really happy. And this is going to entice a click because they know she's excited. They know how hard it is to get monetized, and they want to share that journey with her by clicking on her video. So that's what I mean when I say using emotional expressions. Now, it's going to look different for every industry that you're in. And you also have to be mindful whenever you are doing a video not to use the wrong emotion. So I find that some people, they'll have a serious topic and then they'll have them smiling in the thumbnail, like pointing to the words. Well, if you're talking about a serious topic, it doesn't make sense for you to use a smiling photo of you while you're pointing to the words, because now it doesn't align with the content. You might want to have a more serious look in your thumbnail while you're pointing, because the topic that you're talking about is going to be serious. So just keep all those things in mind whenever you are creating emotional expressions during your thumbnail creation process. Another good way that you can create a clickable thumbnail is by using minimal text. Now, this could be hard sometimes. It really just depends on what the content is. But as you can see, you can still look at these two. One person only used one word, and this girl, Amy Landino, she only used two. And so depending on what the content is, if you can keep a little bit of text on your thumbnails, that's going to be the better, because sometimes you don't need a lot of words in order to get the point across. You can tell with Modern Millie that she's talking about threads, and it's a tutorial. She didn't have to put on here how to use threads and what I've learned. Like, you don't have to put all of that on here. And that's when those logos come into play. If you have different logos or a topic or a company or someone that you're going to be referencing, if you could just use that logo without having to write it out, that's going to save you a lot of time when it comes to trying to create a clickable thumbnail. And then for her, she put healthy habits. we know that she's going to be talking about some type of habit. And I love the fact that she's not necessarily facing us in the thumbnail. She's kind of in her own space, but she's holding a water bottle up as if she's emphasizing like drinking water obviously is going to be a healthy habit. And so you can kind of tell a story without even necessarily showing your face in the thumbnail. And this comes with creating a thumbnail around with your surroundings in mind versus you being the focus of the thumbnail. So I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. If everybody is with me so far, drop a yes in the chat in reference to everything that I've talked about so far. Okay, perfect. Good, good. Okay, good. All right. So let's talk about props, logos, and other things that you can use. So I wanted to throw my picture in there because I'm really proud of this thumbnail. I'm not going to lie. This thumbnail right here, I feel is a perfect example of using props. So if you look at this thumbnail, you can kind of tell what this video is going to be about. I have all of my equipment that I use for my YouTube channel in this thumbnail, and I'm trying to showcase all the different equipment that I use to record my videos. And so I like his example as well, Ali, because you know that this video is going to be talking about books. And I want to say the title of this one is like, I read 52 books this year. It's something like that. Like he read a lot of books and like what he discovered, but he didn't have to write that on the thumbnail. He just put all these different books on here and it really tells a story and it showcases the message to make you want to click because you're instantly looking like, dang, that's a lot of books. I'm curious to what he's learned in these books, especially if you can see one of the ones that you have read personally or that you're interested in reading. A lot of people do this when it comes to the book category. They will showcase multiple books at the same time to kind of showcase the books that they're talking about in the actual video. So I wanted to show real examples of different things that you can do when it comes to using props and using logos. Now, anytime I do a video on YouTube, I'm going to try to have that YouTube logo in there somewhere. Because anytime, regardless of what I'm talking about in reference to YouTube, I know that people are going to instantly know that my video is about YouTube when they see that logo. Same thing like if you teach people how to publish books or how to publish journals or anything like that. If you use a specific printing company, especially Amazon KDP, for example, a lot of people are interested in learning how to self-publish using Amazon KDP. So if that's the platform that you use, anytime you start talking about self-publishing, you want to put that Amazon KDP logo up there because people are going to easily know, okay, this video is something that I'm interested in because I'm trying to learn how to use Amazon KDP. Let me see what this person has to say in reference to that. So any type of prop that you can use in your industry is going to be the best. And to sum it up, going back to brand awareness. When you are pursuing YouTube, I want you to always remember, especially for, I know there's a lot of people that came yesterday that are also in here today. You are your brand and you want people to click on you versus clicking on other people. So when you showcase yourself in all of your videos, you are training your audience to know who these videos are for, and they're going to instantly know that they want to click on your video because they're used to your content. If you're not in your thumbnails, especially if you're creating different types of thumbnails with different fonts, different colors, they don't even know it's your video unless they do some digging, because whenever they see your thumbnails on their home feed, they're not going to see that this was by so-and-so necessarily. They're going to see your thumbnail and they're going to see your title. And so if your video thumbnails look like everybody else's on there, but there has no photo of you, then you're not allowing your subscribers to instantly see your thumbnails and see your videos at the beginning stages on the home feed. So it's really, really big for brand awareness. And if you're pursuing YouTube, you want to be building a brand on there so that you can create that loyal audience that you've been talking about, so that you can create a loyal community around the content that you're creating. And what happens is with this brand awareness, you can start kind of slowing up on how you create your thumbnails, because even if you only have a photo of you, this is when people kind of do the reverse strategy. I noticed that people go really, really hard with creating their thumbnails at the beginning stages. And then once they hit like 50,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers, you can literally do a screen grab and they will still click on the video. But you can't do that at the beginning stages if you haven't already built brand awareness around your content, if that makes sense. So if you're with me, if that makes sense to you guys, drop a yes in the chat. I want to say the next one, let's see. Okay, so the next one is 3 things that every thumbnail must have if you want to click. So let me go to the chat. Okay, good. I see some yeses in the chat. I'm gonna go through this stuff kind of fast because the stuff that I really want to show you are the real YouTube channels and their thumbnails. So I'm really excited to show you that because that's the part that I feel is really gonna help you when you see some real examples on people's pages. So let's talk about the 3 things that you're going to want on all your thumbnails. So from now on, I want to make sure that you are on every single thumbnail that you create for your YouTube videos. Now, whether this means you got to do a thumbnail shoot, whatever it takes, I need you to plug a photo of you on all of your thumbnails so that you can start building that brand recognition and so that you can start establishing your brand on YouTube. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to have something that's easy to let people know what your video is about in your video. So like I mentioned with you, Indiana, like whether that's putting a planner or a journal in your hand or holding up a pen or showcasing your laptop if you're a coach and you're teaching somebody something online. If you're doing a tutorial, you can showcase your laptop like you're on your laptop about to teach them how to do a tutorial. Those things, any type of props that you can use is going to help make it easier for people to know instantly if they're interested in your video or not. And then I need y'all to start practicing those emotional expressions, y'all. I know it can sound a little weird. It could be a little weird when you're actually doing this, but anytime I do my thumbnail shoot, I try to do at least 5 different emotions in the same look. So I do a happy look, like, oh, I'm gonna smile in this. I do a fake laugh. The fake laugh is always awkward, but the picture always comes out really good. I always do a serious look. I do one with me pointing. So if you feel like you're going to be doing a lot of words on the screen on this side and you're going to be on a different side, you want to make sure that you do a pointing one. I do some where I'm pointing upwards. I do some where I'm pointing this way. And I also do one where I'm pointing that way, just to give you options. Because even if you don't use those photos in the first video that you're creating, you may need those photos in the future when you need a serious look or you need a sad look. Also, a sad expression, a surprise expression. And what I do is I just write down a list of all the expressions I want to make sure I hit. And then when I do a thumbnail shoot, I hit all of those expressions every single time. If I have props, I know I create a lot of content about YouTube, then I'm going to make sure I take some pictures with my camera. I'm going to make sure I do some different things so that way it's going to save me time on the back end. So those are the 3 things. Also talking about the text, I kind of hit on that as well with the Canva, getting your looking at the templates that they have and then using the fonts that they've already showed you that is going to kind of look really good on your thumbnails and then just kind of going from there. All right, so now let's talk about the 3 things you need to avoid doing to your YouTube thumbnails. And I have seen some people doing these, especially like some clients. So I just want to make sure, and these are the things that I feel that people tend to go to whenever they're not really familiar with creating thumbnails. The first thing is adding too much text. And even I struggle with this sometimes. But the good rule of thumb is to try to have 4 words or less. Sometimes you can get away with 5. It really just depends on what you're going to be talking about. But if you can try to stick at that rule of thumb of having 4 words or less on your thumbnail, it's going to make it more clickable because you're getting to the point faster. And then you also want to use you don't want to use the same verbiage from your titles. So a lot of people, like, let's say you do how to create a planner or how to create your first journal or how to buy your first house. You don't necessarily have to put that in the thumbnail. if you can put a question in the thumbnail instead to entice the click, you really want your thumbnail text to complement what the title is. So use that free real estate to get another point across. So let's say you can put how to buy your first house, and then in your thumbnail, you put first time buyer or something like that. That's going to be better than putting the full verbatim title in your actual thumbnail, because you can actually use, I want to say, up to 100 characters in your title. You don't need 100 characters on your thumbnails, guys. You don't have to do all that. The second thing I want you to avoid is not putting you in your thumbnails anymore. And this includes using stock photos, because I've seen some people use some stock photos as the person on their thumbnails. The people in the stock images is not a part of the brand. And so there's no way for anyone to resonate with the person on the thumbnail if you're using someone else's photo. So avoid using stock photos. Now you can, I have seen people use like the background stock photo. On Canva, you can actually get a picture of a background, like a background living room, or just different types of backgrounds that look real. And then you can just fade that bad boy out just a little bit, but put you in the thumbnail if you're going to use that, the stock photo in the background. The last thing is using the screen grabs that YouTube gives you as an option. So whenever you start doing your YouTube videos, when you upload it to the YouTube platform, you will notice that they give you 3 thumbnail options that you can choose from, and they are called screen grabs. And a lot of the times you're either in mid-sentence, or you could tell like they're just randomly clipped, and you don't want to use those because you don't really want to put a thumbnail where you're like you just don't want to do that. So you want to actually upload your own thumbnail into your YouTube studio when you're uploading your video. Just be mindful of that. I see a lot of people make that mistake of using those screen grabs. All right, so let's go ahead and discuss real quick. So put in the chat if you have been guilty of making at least one of these mistakes that I talked about just now. I'm curious, or are you like, man, okay, I was doing that. I need to kind of not do that no more. Drop a yes in the chat. I don't see no yeses, y'all. Okay, there I was about to say, I don't see no comments. Yeah, I took my photo off the last 2. Why did you take your photo off? Yes, the screen grab. A lot of people fall for the screen grabs because that's the first thing that pops up whenever you're uploading your videos. And another thing is, like, you actually have to verify your account in order to even enable customized thumbnails. So some people feel like they can't even upload their thumbnails because it doesn't naturally give you that option. You have to enable that feature by doing, I want to say, the 2-step verification or something like that, and then you can upload it. So people default to just doing the 3 options that they give them, but that's not going to build your brand. That's not gonna create a clickable thumbnail because you're literally in mid-sentence. They never give you good options. It's rare that they give you a good option. So yeah. So does anybody want to share, like, if that was helpful so far? Any questions that anybody has before we move forward? You can like raise your hand. I'm gonna try to lower these 2 so I can see if anybody new raises their hand. So raise your hand if you have any questions about anything that I've covered so far before we move forward. I should have brought my water over here. I forgot. All right, so I don't see no hands raised, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. Let me check the chat one more time. It says I use my photos in my thumbnails, but I think I probably do overuse words. I mean, it's hard to do, guys. Even I struggle with putting too many words in my thumbnail sometimes because it really just depends on what the video is. But I can tell when I have too many in there because a lot of the times they won't want to fit. And you don't want your fonts to be smaller than what they need to be. So once my fonts start getting a little bit smaller, where if I zoom out, you can't really read it, then it becomes a problem because now I know I have too many words because I can't use the right size that I normally use. It says, are there any tools for helping to come up with thumbnail text? I'm not great at shortening anything. So that's a really good question. So when it comes to coming up with the thumbnail text, I always try to recommend that you try to use a question, but like a short question. And it really is just going to depend on what the topic is. And when we start looking at these thumbnails, because that's what we're about to get into now, when you start looking at the thumbnail examples, it'll be a lot easier for me to tell you. And this is something else that I want you guys to do. If you are struggling with coming up with ideas for the thumbnail text, when we do this next part and we start going over looking at different people's thumbnails, I want you to look at the text that people have on the thumbnails. And what I do is when I'm doing my thumbnail research, I write down different thumbnail text ideas that I've seen across the board on different thumbnails. So if I see a quick question, and it'll be easier for me to show you, but when I see a good question that you can use for multiple different topics, I'm like, oh, let me write that down because that's something that I can put on a thumbnail in the future, and it's already short. So when you see things that are already working, that's like your cheat sheet, especially with thumbnails. It's your cheat sheet to know, okay, this verbiage is working really good. This made me want to click. Let me look at why this thumbnail made me want to click on it. Like, what's on there? A perfect example is when I was showing Shelby Church's thumbnail, where she had the truth at the back. That's a perfect example about having a little bit of verbiage on there. You can put the truth on a lot of different thumbnails for different things. Or you can even put the ugly truth. I've even done that one. And it's short enough for it to complement whatever the topic is. If you're talking about some mistakes that someone has made in whatever industry that you're in, or maybe you're covering a myth that people think about in your industry or they think is right, but is really not. Or maybe you're sharing your experience with doing something. I know yesterday someone mentioned that they wanted to help like single moms and people that have went through like different things at a young age and maybe had like their kid young. You know, she could put the ugly truth on one of her story time videos about what it's like being a teenage mom. So you just really have to be mindful, and the more research that you could do beforehand, the better when it comes to creating your thumbnails. So I'm going to go ahead and come out of this presentation real quick because we're going to actually hop on YouTube. So drop in the chat while I'm pulling up YouTube. I already have some stuff saved, but put your industry in the chat because if we have the time, I'm looking at the time, depends on how far over we go. I may be able to actually search in your industry and find some real examples in whatever category you're going to be creating content on. So go ahead and drop those in the chat while I get this pulled up. Let me know if you guys can still see my screen if you see YouTube. Drop a yes in the chat. Okay, I see personal branding. Holistics. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what holistics is. Like, can you elaborate on what that is? I'm gonna just be honest. Okay, I see journaling and spiritual growth. Podcast coach. Okay, so podcast coach is a really good one. Budgeting, finance, herbal medicine. Okay, so I have some ideas. So I'm gonna show you the ones that I have saved so far. And then if we're not going over, then I'll go ahead and use some of these that's in the chat and I'll show you some real examples based on your industry. So we're going to start with my girl Lavender. I love Lavender and I love her thumbnails. She has a more simplistic type of thumbnail style, but I love the fact that she uses minimalistic text in her thumbnails. Oh, let's see. I know when you click on people's pages, the videos play. Okay, I see couponing, self-care, women empowerment, motivational, 2 YouTube journeys, personal branding, empowerment, and author branding. Okay, so let's talk about Lavender. So Lavender, she basically helps people with personal growth. She does meditation videos. She does self-help videos. She does a lot of different stuff. But when you look at her page, you can kind of tell what type of content she creates instantly. Like she has one on self-love. She has one, and she also does vlogging. And the vlogging is what kind of helps you build your brand as well. because now people are able to kind of come into your world and see how you do certain things. So she has a mixture, but this is a really good example of how you can do your thumbnails. So let's look at a couple different ones that she has. Let's see. I want to go to her popular because it's always easier to do it like that. I always like to go to people's popular videos to see, okay, this video got this amount of views. I wonder why. Like what did they do in their thumbnail or title to entice that many clicks? So if you look at her meditation videos, it's at 5 million, 4 million, and she's literally showing her on the floor meditating. So even if she didn't have any words on her thumbnail, you would know that this video is about meditation. And that's the goal. You want to be able to use everything that you can to showcase what the video was going to be about before they ever click on the video. Another really good one. So she wasn't even in this thumbnail, but she used her suitcase showing travel packing tips. And this is what I was saying when I said, depending on the content, you can kind of rotate, whether some of them are with you in your thumbnail and then maybe you don't have you in some. But I don't recommend you do that if you haven't already built your brand. So she's been in the game, like this video 6 years ago. So she's been in the game for a long time. So she's already built her brand to be able to do stuff like this. But a good rule of thumb is to try to be in your thumbnails as much as possible. So you can see that she has some more meditation videos and every single one is showing her meditating. She also has this thumbnail right now. I hate when you like hover over it, like moves, but you can see this one right here where she has like just a few words, 23 success habits, and that's it. So this is like a more simplistic idea of how you could do your thumbnails with Miss Lavender. Trying to see if I want to show you guys another really good example that's outside of meditation. Let's see. Yeah, so a lot of hers have her in it. She has some that's like that doesn't have her in it. She does a lot of packing videos and organization videos, I see. And then like this is a really good example for a podcasting thumbnail, how she's in the photo, but she also has her mic in the photo. So that's an example of using a prompt whenever you are doing your thumbnails. And she does have podcasting at the top, but even if she didn't have that, you would obviously know that it's about podcasting. So let's go ahead and hop off of her page. And now we're going to go to, I want to say it's Choria. We're going to go to Troyer. I actually came across her channel today when I was saving different thumbnails because of her social media one. So let's look at her thumbnails real quick. So I came across this video and I actually really like the thumbnail on there because she has Shopify, she has TikTok, she has Instagram, and she has low sales with a question mark. So obviously she's helping business owners with getting more sales. And you could tell because she has low sales at the very top. And that's going to entice a click because if you ain't making no sales, you're going to be like, girl, yes, like, what do I need to do? What's going on? And she also added, here's why your business is suffering. So she has some money on the side. So like she probably got that off of Canva where you can like add in different graphics. But her thumbnail tells a story. It's enticing you to click because it says low sales with a question mark. And then she also has, here's why your business is suffering. So this is an example where it has a little more words than what you would want, but it's still going to get the point across. So let's look at a couple more of her thumbnails. So this is a really good example of if you have your background faded out and then you are the focus of your thumbnail, and then she just has a little bit of text at the bottom. So that's another really good example of what you could do for your thumbnails. If you want something a little more simple and you don't want the focus to be on the background, I kind of do that as well. I always blur out my background in Canva and then I make me the focal point. She also has her trimmed in that. I don't know if you can see it, but she's kind of trimmed a little bit where she has that white around her. You can also do that in Canva. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys know how to trim yourself out in Canva? Because if you don't know how to do that, you definitely want to be able to do that because I use that feature all the time. Okay, somebody said no, no, yes. Not the outlining. Okay. No, I know how to remove the background. Okay. All right. So I may be able to show you guys that no. Okay, so a lot of people don't know how to remove themselves out of the background or add the white outline. Okay. So just remind me to cover that. I'll cover that so that way you guys can see exactly how to do that. Let's see. So like she's using a lot of different companies. So she has Amazon, Shopify, and that's that easy brand recognition. She has Shopify right there as well. So you instantly know that she's talking about e-commerce in some type of way anytime she uses Shopify. Like I personally use Shopify for my business stuff. So if I was wanting to learn more about Shopify, she's already telling me that she's going to teach me in her thumbnails. And I absolutely love this one because this is a really good example of using your text and putting the solid color behind there. And she actually has 4 different colors in that thumbnail, but I think that that's a really good use because it makes you want to look at it and see what it says. Make your first 1,000 in business, and then you know that she's going to be covering Shopify. So I think that these are some really good thumbnails that she has done. So let's hop off of her page really quick. And I want to show you Matt's because his is very unique. And this is for anyone that's not necessarily wanting to use a lot of text and maybe you want your actual picture to be the focus. I think that he does a really great job of this. So he is in the self-development, minimalistic type of industry or niche, and he just takes pictures. But as you can see, almost all of his pictures are emotional. So he uses the emotional expressions for his thumbnails. And so I feel that his channel is really unique. As you can see, he gets a lot of views and he doesn't use text. So you don't always have to use text, but you want to have an idea of what your signature way is going to be. If you're going to go the way where you're kind of going to tell the story in the thumbnail without the words, then you're going to want to use some emotion almost every single time because that's what's going to get them to click. So this is another similar one, like what I showed you guys earlier. So I keep making the same mistake, have no idea what he's talking about, but he has a laptop. And if you already know his brand, then you're going to be enticed to click on that and see what he's talking about. He also did a thumbnail where he's showing a lot of books, what I've learned from every book that I read last year. And he's showing the different books. So like someone mentioned earlier, if you've seen one of the books that you've actually read or you've been interested in reading, you're probably going to want to click on it because you're going to be interested in what he's learned. Or maybe you don't like to read books and you're like, I ain't about to read nothing. So I'm curious to what you learned. Like, what did you read and what did you learn so that I could get the quick tips without having to read everything? So it kind of goes both ways. So this is a really good example if you don't want to use text in your thumbnail. So like this is a yoga one. I want to say someone yesterday they were in the yoga industry. I can't remember. I feel like somebody was. I don't know if they're in here today. Miss Shelby, she does really good with her thumbnails. I personally love her thumbnails because she also tells a story. So she's the one that I was showing you with the Airbnb thumbnail. She also does vlogging, but she showcases, let's see. She showcases a lot of different stuff. So this is an example of her using the numbers, travel hacks. So you can do one of those. That's one that you can actually write down. So every industry has some type of hack that you can talk about, whether it's beginner hacks or money hacks or budgeting hacks or let's see, buyer hacks. I don't know, like just find whatever it is that makes sense of your industry and then add hacks to the side of it. This is another really good example of thumbnail title. So 5 money regrets. So what can you put in your thumbnail that is a regret that somebody that is your target viewer would have and use that as a thumbnail title? Let's see, what else? What's another good one that I could use from hers? So again, the reason why I went on her page is because as you can see, she showcases where she is. Like and the crazy thing is because I actually really follow Shelby like a lot. For this video specifically, or this thumbnail specifically, sometimes she does these and she's not even like really at the location. And it's crazy because she'll like completely set the scene and then crop her out and then plug that in. And I think that that's so cool that she does stuff like that. So let's see. Let me try to find one more really good one. So this is a really good thumbnail title, Not What I Expected. So if you're doing a story time, or maybe you're sharing something that's a myth or something that, you know, it went a different way than what you were thinking, then using the Not What I Expected would be a really good one. Don't do this. So if you're talking about mistakes and you're creating a video, don't do this as a simple thumbnail title that you can add. And this is what I do, guys. I go on different videos. They might not even be in my niche or industry. And I just find words that I can plug into mine. And then I implement it based on the niche that I'm in or that I'm covering. Does anybody have any questions so far based on what I've shown? You can either drop it in the chat or you can come off mute. Let me see, which other one do I want to showcase?
I have a question.
Okay, go for it.
How do you know how long your videos should be?
Well, go ahead. I ain't mean to cut you off.
It's fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it really depends on how fast you get to the point. So a good rule of thumb is try not to pass over 25 to 26 minutes because I'm long-winded. So I try to max out at 20. You're going to start losing people after 30 minutes. When they see the 30-minute mark on your videos, you're going to start repelling people because people like short and quick content. But then you also want to be careful with creating 5-minute videos because you need it to be at least 8 minutes in order for it to get monetized. So if you could try to have your videos be at least 8 minutes, if you plan on, you know, getting revenue coming in from ad revenue, then 8 minutes minimum. I would try not to go over 30 minutes.
Okay.
Some people are a lot longer than other people. So it really comes down to your personality, I feel. If you feel like you can get it done in 8 minutes, then you'll be good. If you feel like you're going to need 20 to 25, then that's also good. Because the longer your video is, the more watch hours you get. So keep in mind, if you create a lot of short videos, it's going to take you a lot of videos to get those 4,000 watch hours that you need in order to get monetized. Now, if you have a 20-minute video, not only are you going to make more money off of that because they can put more ads on there once you are monetized, but you're going to get your watch hours a lot faster because people are watching your video for a longer amount of time.
I see. Okay.
Okay. Does that help?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'll just check in the chat real quick. So this is a different industry. So she talks about buying houses and how you buy your first home. And I think that this is a really good example for realtors. If you are in that industry and you are about to start building your brand online about that, I love this one because she has your first house and then in 9 simple steps. And she almost has it like a ribbon on the side. I hadn't seen anyone do that before. So I think that that's really, really smart. You can also tell in the background of her thumbnail, this one in particular, and it's probably like multiple different ones. So you can easily grab house photos in Canva, plug those in the background. You don't have to be at these houses every single time. Like you can use the photos that Canva gives you, the stock images, plug yourself in the front, and then put whatever the information you need to have on the side. This is another really good example of what she did. You can tell that she has some type of stock photo in the background, but she blurred it out using Canva. And then she has her letters in bold. That's a really good thing that I need to bring up while I'm thinking about it. Try to make sure that your thumbnail fonts are bold. Do not use the skinny fonts. Also, don't use the cursive fonts. Try to stay away from the cursive fonts. You want something that's really easy to read, especially if someone was zoomed out. Because if you are on your phone and you can't read it, the fonts is not like, it's not going to make someone want to click on it. And it's just going to look like random scribbles that no one can really read. And you really have a couple seconds to grab someone's attention through your thumbnail. So that's a really big tip. Make sure that your fonts are bold like this. So like this one right here, I feel should be bold. She did good with the good part, but like the other fonts are really skinny. You probably wouldn't be able to see that really good on your mobile phone if you're trying to go to your page. So this is a really good example. Like if you want the videos of you on the side or the thumbnail with you on the side, and then you want to have the words on the other side, then those are really good examples of how she did that. And so this is just one editing style for your thumbnails. So I think I'm gonna show 2 more. Let's see, because I got a couple. Let's do the couponing one. Definitely want to show hers. And then let me see if I can find one more that I want to showcase. Let me look at the chat and see if I have one saved based on what you guys have said. Let's go back up real quick. So I got the couponing, herbal medicine, budgeting, finance, journaling. Okay, I have one saved on the journaling podcast coach. Okay, we might be able to search the podcast coach one. Maybe the budgeting, finance. Okay. All right, so let's look at this one. Let me see what other one I want to do. I kind of want to do hers because she has a signature style where almost all of hers are like that. And I think I want to do hers too. Okay, let's start with there. So I'm going to go to her page. This is for my couponing girl. I got you, girl. I got you. So I really like, I don't know if you've seen her channel before. Drop in the chat if you've come across her channel. But I thought that her thumbnails were really, really good. The ones that I want to focus on for this training are the ones where she's in the thumbnail. So she's at the table, and then she's also showcasing the stuff that she's going to be talking about. I think that this is a great way for you to start your couponing channel where you're showcasing yourself. You're also showcasing the name of the place that you're couponing at. I think that that's really, really big because me as a couponer, I normally go to Dollar General. That's like a really big one, in CVS. So I wouldn't necessarily be interested in the Target couponing videos, but if you have a Dollar General logo or if you have a CVS logo, I'm a lot more likely to watch that because those are the places where I coupon at. So just really, really simple stuff that you could do where you're also showcasing. So for this one, I would say have a table and have all the stuff that you were able to get on that table. Now, there are some where they just showcase. I want to see if it was hers because I saved 2 couponers. There was one where see, she's in all of hers. So this is a really good example of a thumbnail that also has the text on the side, and this is really beginner friendly. So in that one, she has the stuff that she's couponed in the background. And I notice a lot of people that's couponing, they have like that shelving unit with all of their stuff. So that could really be your background. I don't know if you have a shelving unit like that, but if you do, then you can actually take pictures in front of your shelf, blur it out, and then put your text on there because now you're letting people know that it's a video about couponing. Because anytime I see that shelf, I know it's about couponing instantly without any words on there. But then you also get the advantage of adding like the actual titles. So let me go to the chat real quick. Will there be a replay? I have to leave soon. So if you want the replay, then I would recommend you upgrade to the VIP ticket. And this is for everybody else as well. Upgrade to the VIP ticket, and then that way you'll get replay access to all of the trainings during Creators Weekend. So I'll definitely be sending those out. I'll drop the links in the chat. It's going to have all the links attached that I'm going to be talking about today, but it'll be the one at the bottom. You can click on that link for the Eventbrite link and then upgrade to the VIP ticket. All right, so that's couponing.
In this video, I want to give you an update on.
And then Indiana, this might be a really good one for you as well. So she has a signature style, and that's why I wanted to show her because she's on the side every single time. And then she has her bold in gray and white at the top. And then she just has her fonts at the bottom, and she's talking about Amazon KDP. Now, obviously, you're not really helping with Amazon like that, but the point I want to make is she has like the blur on the side where it's like a faded color, but almost all of her thumbnails look very similar. She's on the side, she got the same font on this side, and that's that brand recognition that I was talking about. I also really like this one because Indiana, if you want to do different, I'm sure you probably know how to do this, how you can take pictures of certain pages, like use the one in Canva, and plug those onto your actual thumbnails, I think that that would be a really good way to kind of showcase certain things that you're going to be talking about with journaling. So this is just an example of keeping it simple. That way you don't got to really worry about the background every time. All you have to do is change out the photo and change out the words. And if you feel that that's going to make it easier for you, where you don't have to change out everything and set the scene and tell a story all the time, that's not for everybody. If you find that doing something like this is a lot more simpler and a lot easier for you, do it this way so that you can start pumping out content a lot faster. All right, so I'm going to end, let's see. Do I want to go back to this? All right, so we're going to break for Q&A. So raise your hand if you have any questions, or you can drop them in the chat. Any questions about thumbnails, the thumbnails that I've shown you so far before we move to the next part? And I'll give you guys a second to do that. Okay, Moni, you can go.
Okay. Well, I had a question. With the thumbnails, do you think I should switch up my thumbnails on my channel so it all can be cohesive? Like if I wanted
Yes.
to do something similar to the lady that she showed, because my favorite stores is Walmart and CVS. So I like to coupon at them stores. So should I just change up the last 5 videos, the thumbnails, to something similar to
Absolutely.
what she's
Yeah, if possible, like if you already have, if you're doing Walmart, and what did you say the other one was?
CVS.
Couponing. Let's try Walmart real quick. Couponing at Walmart. I know a lot of people in couponing too. They do like what I couponed this week. So this is a perfect example. Like if you can use that tag, and like he's at Walmart. I don't know if you feel comfortable doing that. But if you could definitely include like the Walmart, and then because the thing is, just because you create your thumbnails the first time, that doesn't mean that that's the final thumbnail that you have to use. You can always go back and change out your thumbnail as you get better with creating your thumbnail. So if you're able to curate where you're showcasing like the stuff that you were able to get at Walmart or CVS or wherever, and recreate that thumbnail for that, absolutely. Because you never know. I don't know what your average view count is right now, but a simple changing out of a thumbnail and a title can drastically change the amount of views you get if you do it the right way. So absolutely, if you could change it out, change it out. Try to see if I can find another really good Walmart one. Let's see. So like hers is kind of different too. So she took a picture of the table, and then she has a Walmart. Now, in my opinion, her Walmart logo is a little bit too big, but I mean, we get the point. And then she still has her in the corner. So in my opinion, I would have made her a little bit bigger, like a more focal point. But I like the fact that she has the stuff that she bought in the background. And then she's also making sure that you know that it's a Walmart haul. I think that this is a really good one for the non-picture. So even with this one, she could have easily plugged her on the side right here, like with a cutout of her. She could have easily plugged her on the side, but I think that that's even a really good thumbnail. And she just posted this 58 minutes ago. So this is like a brand new video, actually. Now that I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at the views on any of these.
intense.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
There's like Walmart, they always, like, I noticed that they normally post videos probably like Monday, Sunday.
Yep,
Like
Sunday's
is
a real
big day
big
with
one. Yep. I'm trying to remember the girl that I follow on couponing. She does primarily CVS. I cannot couponing with. It's been a minute since I watched her. I can't remember, but she's the one that kind of put me on couponing, and she drops a video every Sunday, because I know on Sunday that's when like the newsletter or like the coupons, like they get new coupons every Sunday for like CVS and I think Family Dollar and Dollar General. So I always be on the lookout for those Sunday videos. Like, what did you get? Let me try to run and get it real quick. And as you can see, I mean, this isn't a part of the training, but while I have it pulled up, if you notice, Walmart, this is like using vidIQ. This is what you want. The competition for this category is very low. And that's why you can see like some of these people that I was coming across where I wasn't really paying attention to the views. Like they're getting a lot more views because they have really not a lot of competition at all. Like it's all the way in the green. You don't see that a lot. And then the volume is on average. Like this is the volume of how many people are on average searching for Walmart couponing specifically. But that's a whole nother video. I don't want to get into all the detail with that because we'll be done went down a rabbit hole. But does that help, Moni?
Yes.
It does? Okay, great. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Let me look in the chat to see if anybody has any questions in here. You can either raise your hand or you can come off of mute. And I'll give you guys a second. All right, if you guys don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and move on to the cheat sheet to creating your thumbnails in less than 10 minutes. And I think that this is going to help. I've already kind of covered some of it, but we're going to go ahead and give you some quick tips if you are looking to start creating your thumbnails really, really quick. So that way, that's like one less thing that you have to worry about after you record your videos. And this is something that I personally do as well. It doesn't take me a long time to create my thumbnails anymore because I use these different things that I'm about to share with you. So the first thing is have the thumbnail photo shoots. And this is something that I've already said a couple times, but I'm going to reiterate it again. It's easier to have your thumbnail shoot on the same days that you're going to be recording your videos by default because you're already dressed, you're already looking, you know, professional or have on whatever it is that you're going to wear. But sometimes you could do a thumbnail shoot on days that you're not planning on recording content. It really just depends. I know someone mentioned earlier that they have a client that, you know, they don't really have any updated photos. And so like you're having to use older photos for their new thumbnails. If they do one thumbnail shoot where they have on maybe they wear 2 to 3 different outfits and they spend maybe 30 minutes to an hour just taking different pictures, doing different poses, using different props in that one time, they can really get away with using those photos for up to 6 months, really, if they find some really good ones that they can just rotate. Also, when you're having your thumbnail shoot, like I said earlier, take multiple photos. Anytime you're doing, if you know that you do the same type of content all the time, you cover the same type of stuff like journaling or couponing and stuff like that, take multiple photos because you might think that you're going to use that first photo, but then when you get in post-production and now you're trying to curate your text and you're trying to put this over here, but you realize that it's not really working out the way you want, sometimes you have to go to a different photo. And if you don't have a second photo or a third photo to use, now you're out of luck because you're stuck trying to make that work. The second reason why you want to take multiple photos is because you can use those different photos for different thumbnails in the future. And I just had a brain fart. I was about to say go somewhere else with that. You want to take multiple photos for your thumbnails. I'm gonna have to circle back because as I was talking, it just kind of slipped my mind. But you want to use props every time. So whether that's using your laptop, holding some keys up, showing some detergent, like whatever it is that the content is about, try to use a prop if possible and take photos of your background. So one thing that I found that I would run into is if I'm in the middle of the photo and I actually need to be over here on the left or the right, if I took a picture of just me, I can't just move me to the left because you're still going to see me right here. So what I've learned to do is take a photo of the background without me in it. So that way I always have a background photo. I can fade it out and I can plug me in wherever I need to. This tip will change the game for you creating your thumbnails, guys. Take the photo of the background. Another thing that I noticed when you do this is that you give yourself more options. So now if you really want to showcase your office, but whenever you're sitting down, like you can't really position yourself to showcase the office the way you want to. Well, if you take a picture of the office by itself, and then you take a picture of you standing up or whatever, and you cut you out and plug you in, Now you have a more professional looking thumbnail because you're being more intentional by doing what you need to do to get that shot. So that's the first thing. The second thing is create a default thumbnail style. So I kind of showed you some examples, especially with the girl that does KDP. Maybe you need a default thumbnail style where you could just easily plug a new picture of you and just change out the words. I find that if you are a beginner, that this is going to be the easiest thing for you to do because now you don't have to worry about all the extra stuff. You could just focus on what words I need to have on my thumbnail, and then you could just change out your photos. And the good thing about, I think I remember what I was going to say about the taking multiple photos. I think it's in the slides, but I'm going to say it anyway. So whenever you take multiple photos, you can rotate that same photo on multiple thumbnails. So just because you took it for that one shoot, if there are certain photos that I've taken where I'm like, oh, I look really, really good in this one. I think this really, really drives my brand home. And I will put that same photo on multiple things. I also did it on my creators weekend slides. There's one particular photo that I like, and I put that on multiple of my slides for my presentations because that's the one that I like. And so that's a really, really powerful tool that you can utilize when you're doing multiple photos at the same time. And then creating a brand kit for your YouTube channel. So someone asks about the titles, like how to get the right text and fonts and stuff. So what you do is once you find the right fonts, and I'll show you this in a second, but once you find the right fonts in Canva, they actually have something called a brand kit. I don't know if you guys use this already. I know I use this for my LaShonda Smith brand, and I have a brand kit for brand planners. And then I now have a kit for my YouTube channel where you can automatically put the types of the colors that you want to use. So if you use the same colors in all of your thumbnails, you can save what the color codes are, and you can save the fonts that you typically use on your thumbnails. So now you don't have to go searching for it every single time. You can easily just use the branding kit, and it's going to already provide whatever the font is when you're creating your thumbnails. This will save you a lot of time because I know for me, for some reason, in Canva, it doesn't always share at the top the fonts that you've used previously. And so I find myself before having to like constantly try to find the font that I used before. And now I don't have to worry about that because it's in my branding kit. And then this also is going to allow you to batch create thumbnails. So if you have your signature style, like I mentioned earlier, now you can create thumbnails during your post-production days, whether you have a video going up or not. So if you planned out 90 days worth of content, you can start creating your thumbnails before you've ever created the video. And that is powerful because now once the video is done and you've edited the video, now all you have to do is add that thumbnail. Like you just saved yourself a step because sometimes you could sometimes I'll spend multiple hours just creating thumbnails because sometimes I want to A test or B test. And what that basically means is someone mentioned earlier, like, should they change out their thumbnails for their older videos? So when you start doing A/B testing, you can start with one thumbnail, but because you've created two options, if that one's not performing well, you can put in the other one after a week to just kind of see which one is going to do better. And you're able to do that when you batch record. I would recommend you start off doing that if you're still figuring out what your style is. But that's uh-oh, somebody's off mute. Hold on. Let me mute everybody. Okay. So I wouldn't recommend you do this at the beginning stages if you haven't created your signature thumbnail yet. But once you've created it, to just start creating as much as possible because then it'll save you time on the back end. The next thing, and we kind of just did this a little bit, I was just showing you kind of like an example, but research your thumbnail ideas beforehand. So after you put in your content calendar, what videos you plan on recording, then you're going to search for that title in YouTube and see what is the pattern with these thumbnails. Does these thumbnails have the same logo in it? Does these thumbnails kind of entice or have a laptop in it every single time? If you're a realtor, does the thumbnail have a house in the background every time? Find the patterns. And even more importantly, this one doesn't have to be necessarily in your industry. if you're on your home feed, and I think you gotta have vidIQ for this, if I'm not mistaken. But if you're on your phone, you could just screenshot, whichever one works. But save your inspirational thumbnails to your computer. So if you find that you like a specific thumbnail style that you would like to try to play around with and kind of create your own version of it, save those to your computer so that way you have a folder to look back on whenever you are doing your research for your thumbnails. So these are just different ways that is going to save you time on the back end once you start utilizing all of these different methods. Because again, when you're batch record or batch editing your thumbnails at one time, that's going to save you time. If you've already done your photo shoots, now you have multiple photos of you to choose from. So now you don't always have to do a thumbnail shoot. And then when you're doing your research for your thumbnail ideas, you already have a folder of thumbnail ideas from other people in different industries or whatever that you can kind of play around with. That's going to help save a lot of time. So let me go to the chat. I see somebody commented, this is what I was wondering for my type of industry with the personal branding. My niche is, or my niche in isn't about the visual, but the inner work to create the outer work. Can you elaborate on that real quick? Come off mute real quick. Shaniqua.
Okay, well, I'm actually washing dishes, but my question is like, okay, so you showed like things that are visual types of industries, from the couponing to the mindfulness and meditation thing. Like those were like more outwardly recognizable type of things. And like even with the KDP lady, like she can grab the KDP logo. I'm not working with any of that. So I was wondering, like visually, what do people tend to do when they don't have that type of
like the
I don't know how to frame it.
logos. I know what you're saying. So if you're in an industry where you're not going to necessarily be able to use logos, or you're not really going to be able to necessarily tell a story, then the best method to do is to just create that signature thumbnail where you're on one side and then you have the titles on the other side. So that way the title is what's going to entice the click versus having like the other bells and whistles involved. Does that make sense? I don't know where
Yeah, that's really
oh, there you
helpful.
go.
But I guess I guess that's why that previous question I had of like, okay, is there a tool for these titles, like shortening them to where they're still, oh, I know what this is, I want to go check it out. You know what I mean?
Like creating the clickable titles and the thumbnails.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Because
gonna
that's really my hang up, big time.
tell me, what's your industry again?
Like I know with the writing journey, that one will be easier, but with the niche coach, not coaching, well, yeah, coaching of the personal branding. But again, like when people think personal branding, they're thinking about like visually. I'm talking about get to know your voice, get to know what you want, get to know who you're trying to attract, like those type of parts of personal branding.
Okay, so let's go to YouTube real
Does that
quick.
help?
Yeah, that helps. So I'm
Okay.
gonna so give me an example of something that your ideal viewer would search for. Because you said something about brand voice. They probably wouldn't necessarily search for a brand voice, but
No, they
what is
wouldn't.
something that they would search for?
Well, like I know with the clients I've pivoted to working with, theirs is like, how do I stand out?
Okay, so
And like
how do
that's
I
usually what the framing of the question is. Like, how do
stand
I
out in
stand
their
out in this
business?
noisy crowd? Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna just go with that one and I'm gonna see where it lands us. So in those, like I said, in those, especially with coaching, like, and this kind of applies with a lot of different coaching things. So like this is a good example. You're gonna come out better having like a photo of you on one side and really focusing on that text on the other side. Now he did the thing that I kind of tell you not to do, like using the title font and or using the words in the title on your actual thumbnail. So It's relative
It's 7 years
because
old, so
right. Yeah, it's relative. And I'm glad you said that because things are always evolving on YouTube. So it's like at certain times things do work and then at certain times things don't work. And so you can do it, but at the same time, the rule of thumb is to have less words. So you're going to come out better doing like the photo of you and then focusing on the words to kind of reel them in. And the only way that you're going to really be able to get those words for your thumbnails is to do the research on here. So like I see a couple that I want to kind of bring up. So like this person has be more visible. Be more visible is almost the same thing. It's like it's complementing what the title is. So how to stand out in business. And then they're complimenting it by saying be more visible. Now he's talking about something else, but I'm just using his thumbnail title as an example of something that you could use on yours. Or you can even put find your brand voice because that's something that you had mentioned earlier. And that's 3 words, find your brand voice. No, I'm lying, that's 4 words. So that's what I mean when I say creating the shorter thumbnail titles in there. There's one more that I saw, like grow your business. You could probably use that one a lot for multiple different videos based on the industry that you're in. Let's see.
so
The number,
basically,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, basically, it seems like be synonymous.
What do you
You
mean
know,
by
like
that?
just find the other way to say it.
Yeah, kind of, especially in coaching, like, yeah, you kind of have
Yeah.
to find multiple ways to say the same thing or something that is going to appeal to the people. And the only way, like the reason why I can't give you a real-time example is because you really have to research it and then look at what's working in your industry. So I'm looking at like have these 2 people, they have a big number and then they have like marketing strategies. So obviously putting a number in marketing strategies, that performs really, really well. And if you find that someone has a lot of views, like this one has 1.5 now, granted it is from 5 years ago, this one is from 1 year ago, but it has almost 500,000. If I find that someone's getting a lot of views and their channel is doing really, really well in my industry, I'm going to click on their channel and I'm going to do some research on the words that they're using in their titles. So let's use him for example. Hold on, let me see. Let me scroll down a little bit more before I do that. How to stand out in the crowd. Okay, I'm familiar with Marie Forleo, so let's click on her. Because I think that she's been in the game for a long time. So I know her thumbnails have evolved. Let's see. So she would be a perfect example because like look at, she has like her signature fonts that she's using on here. Don't be boring. So I think that you could talk about not being boring a lot, and you can have a completely different title for the video talking about something completely different, but she has like, okay, eat this, not that. That's not really a good example because that's not in branding. Let's see. Is this why you're so tired? Let's see. I want to find a really good one. Don't ignore these signs. Silence your inner critic. I mean, like, you just have to really look at these different examples and then you just write down some that you find is relevant to the topics that you're going to be covering. Stop overthinking. Let's see. Want more sales, do this now. The do this now works really, really good. I see that in multiple industries. And I almost want to show you my title list. I don't even know if I'll be able to find it. I have like a little cheat sheet that I didn't even think to showcase on here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me stop my screen share for a second. Would you guys like for me to email you the cheat sheet for the thumbnail titles that I have saved that I personally, like based on the research that I've done? Drop a yes in the chat real quick. I'm going to see if I can pull it up real quick. Because if I can find it after the class, I'll actually send this to you guys if you think it'll be helpful. Let's see. Of course, it logged me out. Yes, okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Okay, let me see if I can find it and I'll pull it up and show it to you real quick, what I'm talking about. Because it's one of those things where if you see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Let's see, title ideas. I think I titled it YouTube thumbnail title ideas. I hope that this is the right one. Yeah, I found it, guys. I found it. Let me see. Now, these may be specific. Yes, okay, this is perfect. All right, so let me share my screen real quick. And I'm gonna show it to you. And then once you can see my screen, let me know. Okay, so I have my screen up. Can you guys see it? Let me pull up the chat again. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, okay. Okay, good. So this is what I pulled up. This is what I kind of did some research on before. And these are some different subtext ideas that I got for thumbnails that you could use. So I have like still my, and then I put blank because you could do strategy, plan, workflow, things like that. I actually showed this one earlier with the social media is changing. So I actually put that blank is changing. So you could put whatever industry or whatever topic that you're talking about and how that's changing. You could do one on fixture or blank. So the blanks is where you have to plug in your industry specific stuff. But these are short title ideas that you can use on your thumbnails to start, no matter what industry that you're in. And this will get you started with creating short thumbnails or short titles on your thumbnails. Now, I also have before you start, expectation versus reality, before and after. So these two right here are really good if you are like using the couponing, for example. If you're trying to teach someone how to get better at couponing, you can show like maybe they got 2 things in the before picture and then now they got a bundle of a whole bunch of stuff in the after picture. That's a really good example to be able to use something like that. And if you're in a coaching industry where you can't really use the logos and you don't really have the bells and whistles to work with, then I feel that this stuff will be a really good starting point. So like my best advice, my secret to this, is that easy with like the question mark and the exclamation. I wish I knew this. So these are things that you can kind of recycle and repeat and just talk about something different when you're using that. So was this helpful? I hope that this is helpful because this is what I personally use whenever I'm researching. I just kind of add to it as I do. He said, this is a great lead magnet. You know, I need to create something like this as a lead magnet. It's like one of those things where you don't think about it till you kind of get in the situation. Like right now, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this might be helpful. So I don't know if you want to take a picture of this. Again, after the class, I'll send this to everybody. So you'll get it either way. I'll send it to you in like a PDF or something. But start off with this, and this will kind of help at least structure it. But also, as you are finding different thumbnails and different videos specifically in your industry and then some that's not, save thumbnail ideas, guys. If you see different text or different things that people are utilizing that makes you want to click on it, I want you to start asking yourself, why do I want to click on this? Like, what did they do on here that made me want to click on it? And then you take a note of that so that whenever you are trying to entice a click, you start using things that has worked on you that made you want to click in the first place as well. So I hope that this is helpful. I see someone said very helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that I thought about that I had that. So let me exit out of this. Where was I at? So research and then find signature photos. Let's see. Okay, I already talked about this, removing your background. So what I kind of want to do is share with you guys how to remove yourself, like how to do the white real quick, the white outline. Let's see. Yes, because people stop focusing on YouTube strategies and marketing, Instagram hooks, and TikTok hooks and Reels hooks. So yes, it's a perfect lead magnet. I agree. I'm gonna definitely turn it into a lead magnet. I'm gonna have to pretty it up though. I mean, I'm gonna give y'all what I got, today, but eventually I'll make something a little bit more presentable and turn it into some type of lead magnet. Let's see. Make sure ain't nothing else. So we were about to go into the Q&A. So this would be a perfect time for me to showcase how to actually do the thumbnail trick that I was talking about. So let me create another tab. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. So let's go to design, create a new design. And then thumbnail. And I'm gonna just use something that I already have on here just to make it easier. So look at y'all getting a Canva tutorial. Oh, this was not in the plan. But I got you guys. I got you. All right. So let's start off with the thumbnail templates that's already on here. So if I put in thumbnail on Canva, and like I said, I don't always recommend you use these, but while we're here, I'll just show you. So this is what I mean when I say use the fonts that they already have. So her font is a perfect example, and I can already tell based on one of the thumbnails I showed today that that girl used this exact layout for her stuff, and she just changed out the words and she just changed out the colors, right? But if I click on the actual font, hold on, it's lagging. If I click on the actual font, I see that it's Archivo Black. So that's the font that they're using for that. And let's say that I actually like that font. Then I can actually plug this into my brand kit. So let me see if I can find my brand kit on the side. So here's a little brand kit. If you want to set up your own brand kit, you could do this right here, or you can do it on the homepage of Canva. But I have a brand kit for different stuff, and it allows you to plug in your color palette. You can even add logos. I mean, I don't necessarily have logos for that I use repetitively on YouTube specifically that I would add here. But if you have like a logo you want to add, you could do that. It has different fonts that you could do, and they've actually added this stuff on here as well. So if you have signature graphics that you use or photos or icons, you can add all of that into your branding kit. And you can actually have multiple, because I know like I have brand planners, and I also have my main YouTube channel. I actually just use a LaShonda Smith for that, but you can create this and then it's going to save you time because it's going to automatically pull up. And if I go here, my fonts for my brand kit are right here. So no matter what's going on up here, if they change my recommendations or, you know, if they start at A up here and I got to like search for it, all I have to do is go to my brand kit and it's going to show me the fonts that I want to use. So that's what I was talking about when I say that. Let's go back to the designs. And so what I always recommend, going back to your font ideas, scroll through these and see what fonts are easily to read. So if you're doing something where like I personally feel like a lot of these templates are not appealing. That's why I say don't use those, but you create your own based on what you see. So like I think that this is a really good font with these titles. So maybe you want to have the white in the background or have like the color in the background and you want to do something like this, then this is going to give you the ability to kind of change it out and do your own thing. I won't recommend you do all of this that she got going on, but you just pull what you like and then you plug it into your own thing. That's the whole goal. Maybe you like the font that has like the outline and you're like, I want to have my stuff outlined. Well, this is a really good example of something that you can start with where his fonts is already outlined and you can just change the color to match what it is that you want for your specific thumbnails. And if I go to effects, I can actually make that thickness, make it thicker on there if I want, or I can make it thinner. So it kind of gives you a variety of options. It also has this one now where you can like really change it out and make it like a lot more thicker like this. So Canva definitely gives you options to choose from when it comes to picking your fonts. And I recommend you just kind of play around with it, find the ones that you like, and then go from there. So let's back up real quick. Let me check the chat real quick. I see a couple things. Can you have a brand kit using the free version of Canva? I don't know. Let me see if it got like the little star. That's a good question. I kind of feel like this will be a premium use, but I'm not sure. That's a good question. Let me go back. Let me go home. I have the premium option. So yeah, see it has a crown. So yeah, the brand kit would be a premium option, but honestly, Canva is so worth the premium option. I mean, I use Canva almost every single day. So eventually it's something that I would definitely recommend you invest in. Another thing while we're on the investment part in order to remove yourself from the background, I want to say that that is also a premium feature, if I'm not mistaken. So invest in Canva, guys. I think it's like $20 a month. I mean, you can't beat it. You're going to need it. So definitely invest in it. Let me actually create like a quick thumbnail. I'm not going to create a whole thumbnail, but I'm going to show you what you do if you want to remove yourself from the background. So here's a photo. This is actually what I do. I'm kind of giving y'all a snippet of one of the things that I do. So let's see. Let me try to find an easy photo to use. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for, so I guess let me just try this one. Now, this is not a good example when it comes to having a picture of the background already, but I just want to show you how to do this simple thing. So I'm going to take this photo. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. And one of the things that I do is I normally change out how I want the photo to look. So I kind of like update it if I need to make it a little bit more brighter or bring it down. Whatever the goal is, I go ahead and I go in and do all that stuff first. Now, let's say I've already done all the stuff. I think that it looks good. Then I'm going to actually duplicate this so that I have two photos. And then I'm going to move me to the side and I'm going to actually fade this out. I'm giving y'all the game right now, guys. So I'm going to make this a little bit blurry. So like mine, I normally try to do it around 15 to 17. So let's just go to 16. So now my background is blurry. Now I'm going to remove me from the background. So all I have to do, and Canva does really, really good with removing you. All I'm going to do is hit the background remover. And as you can see, this is a premium feature, guys. So just heads up. I'm going to remove me. And now I could put me wherever I need to be. Now, this is what I was talking about. If you take a picture with your background, you can't just plug you over here if you change your mind, like you're stuck right here. So this is what I was talking about. But in this type of situation, it's okay because I did this intentionally. But that's what I was talking about. But this is how you remove yourself in the background. And then if I want to put the border around me, then what I do is I'm going to click on this again. I'm going to edit photo. And then I'm going to go to shadows down here. I'm going to create the outline. And now it's going to default to give me a black outline. I'm just going to change this to white. And I'm going to make it smaller. And boom, now you outline. That's all you have to do, guys. That's it. If I wanted my background to be kind of like blurry, like the outline, let me go back. If I wanted it to be blurry, then I could just change the blur amount. Now, the only thing that I don't normally use the blur amount no more, because as you can see, when you go up, it makes you smaller. And then it kind of gets clunky because now I got to like resize me and make sure that it makes sense. And sometimes Canva kind of trips when you try to do the blurry, but it is an option if you really like that background. But that's essentially how you do it. That's how you blur yourself in the background. Let me go back to the chat. Canva best practices is low cost. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely low cost investment. Yep, it is pro feature. Oh, didn't know of it being, yeah. So it's in shadows. So if you're trying to get the outline, all you got to do is use the shadows. I use that. I was using it for almost all of my thumbnails. I haven't been using it recently, but it's really, really helpful. So I want to show you this while I'm in here. Then I'm going to hop out of Canva. But let's say, I forgot that has me out. Let's say that I'm like, dang, I don't want my webcam showing in the background. I'm just making something up. But I'm like, I don't want this on the top, or maybe you have something in your photo that you don't really want there. Hold on, it's froze a little bit. What's going on? I'm going to show you how to remove that. So let's go back to my back photo. And I'm going to go to Magic Eraser. I think this is so cool. And then I could just like kind of hover over that. It's not always perfect, but it works for the most part. If you're trying to get little blemishes out of there. Well, let me try it again. That's kind of like sloppy, but there you go. Okay, it worked that time. And now it's gone, y'all. So, that's a really good help for certain moments. Like there's been times where I'm taking a thumbnail photo and I have like multiple pins on the table that I didn't intend on having there. Or maybe you can see like my camera remote and I didn't want that in the picture and I could just remove it. So get Canva Pro, guys. It's definitely worth it. Let me stop the screen share real quick. So what questions do you guys have while we are wrapping up the thumbnails? Because now in a second, we're going to get into editing. So let me know what your thumbnail questions are. And I'll give you a second to either put them in the chat or you could just unmute yourself. Let me open up the chat real quick. Does anybody have any questions about creating their thumbnails or anything that I've shown so far? No questions? Okay, I see someone said no. All right, if you guys are good, we'll move forward. Give me a yes in the chat if you're ready to move on to doing the editing for your videos. Okay, I see some yeses coming in. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and get into editing. Let me go back to my screen. All right, so let me go back. I had to move my stuff around. So let's try to go to this one. Hopefully it doesn't start me all the way over. How do I start at this one? I guess it's gonna make me start all the way over. Hold
Just
on.
got to present mode, and then even if it starts you over, type in 26.
Oh, I could type it in. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
you
cool.
should be able to
Okay.
type in the number.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Because I'm like, it gotta be a way to get to where I need to be, right? Okay, perfect. All right, so now let's talk about how to edit your videos in less than 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go over some quick tips first, or we're gonna discuss first what your biggest editing issues is. I have been in the inbox talking about editing with multiple people. A couple of you guys that's in this class right now. So let me know, what is your biggest struggle when it comes to editing your videos? Because I want to make sure I cover that stuff while we're on this training. You want to go? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. One, it takes too long because I'm a perfectionist, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm trying to do all the different zoom in, zoom out, and every 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever it is. And then and then I tried Opus Pro after the last class, but then I saw that doing all that editing first was a waste of time because I put words on there, but then when you do the Opus, when it cuts it down to shorts, it cut the words.
It put word. Oh, okay.
So like, what's your best practices is what I need to know. How to make it go a little bit quicker, because it was just a 20-minute video, but it took me hours.
Yeah, 20-minute video
and I'm
sounds
pretty
about
good with
right.
editing, so.
Yeah, 20 minutes sounds about right for a couple hours because my videos are anywhere from 20 to like 26 minutes. And the moment I hit that 20-minute on my camera, like, cause I could see what the time is, I'll be like, man, I'm gonna be editing for a minute on this. So I am gonna give you some best practices to kind of help it out, but the longer your video, the longer the editing time. The only way that you're gonna really shorten the editing time like drastically is if you don't worry about the bells and whistles. But like you said, if you're a perfectionist, because I'm a perfectionist, so I definitely understand, and you want to have the titles, you want to have the transitions, you want to have the zoom ins and zoom outs, it's going to take you a little bit of time. Because you literally have to look through the video. You have to watch the video as you're editing it. And what I recommend is you watch it when it's finished, because you don't want to upload the video and then you got stuff in there that was supposed to be out. You looking at your script or whatever, and you thought you cut that part out and it's still in there. I'm saying it because I done did it. And the video was up there for a month, but I only had like 10 views at the time, so it wasn't a big deal. But still, like, you have to watch it back. So all that stuff takes time. But I am going to give you some tips and how to shorten your editing process if possible. Indiana, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah. Um, my thing is because I do journaling videos, sometimes if
Mhm.
I'm journaling, they'll get pretty long. So what I wanted to do was like do cut out segments and then put the prompt and then have me writing in the background, but speed it up. I kind of wanted to
Oh,
speed it up
okay.
so that it could be like they could, fast forward through it, or, but they can still see the prompt, but they can slow it down and speed it up or whatever, so that I can shorten the time of the
Mm,
video.
that makes sense. So
Mhm.
in that type of situation, like you were saying, you definitely want to do almost like a time lapse, like you were saying, where you speed it up. And so you speed it up, and then you can have the prompt on there, and then you just choose how long do you want to leave the prompt up. So you wouldn't necessarily worry about the length of your video when it's raw. Like as you're recording, it's probably going to be longer, but you know that something that you might have been journaling, because I know I journal too. So let's say you were journaling for 10 minutes. You really only need to record you journaling for maybe 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how long you're going to do the time lapse, just to give you enough time to hit that amount of seconds. So if you only want to leave the prompt up for, let's say, are you going to have them journaling at the same time, or you just want them to get the message and they kind of they can pause it and kind of do their own thing? Like, what is your vision for that?
They could pause it, as well.
Okay. So what I've seen, because Lavender is a really good example of that, because she also does journaling videos. And what she does is she'll show the prompt and she'll give them, I want to say like maybe 20 seconds with the prompt on the screen. And then she has the B-roll in the background and it's sped up. So you could do something like that. You pick your time and then you speed it up to the point where, because you don't have to use all of it. And I do that all the time, like with my B-roll for my behind the scenes of me recording or whatever. So just show you for a couple seconds, but it's sped up, and then you just clip out the rest of it. So you might have 10 minutes of just you journaling a footage, but you're only using 2 minutes of it, if that makes sense. But
Mhm.
I've even gotten down to where if I know I'm going to time lapse it, if I'm journaling in real time, because I did that with my plan with me. So I was journaling or planning in real time, but I didn't use nearly half the amount of footage that I got. And what I was doing was I might record me journaling for like the first 3 minutes, and then I cut the camera off and then I finish, because I know I'm not going to use all of that anyway. And it just saves you time on the post-production side.
Mhm.
Does that help?
Yeah.
It does. Okay. Yeah, that's what I would try. If you're doing like the journaling videos where they're able to journal with you, and then just let them pause it. You could be like, hey, I'm going to show you the prompt. I'm going to leave it up for a couple seconds. During this time, you can go ahead and pause it, do this portion, and then you'll share what the next prompt is, or, whatever your process is.
Oh, can I tell the lady about the Opus clips? What I found is, as I will upload for Opus clip, you use the free version of Opus clip, upload your raw footage of your video to YouTube hidden, and then put that one. Let Optus clip create the clips from that one before you do all of your adding your captions and stuff like that, so that you won't have all that text cut off and stuff like that in it from there.
Is
That's
it
how
quicker to do it that way?
if you
Because
don't want
I've had uploaded the video straight to Opus, but you're saying do it to YouTube first.
no, because if you use the free version of Opus Clip, they only allow you to upload a link to
Perfect, thank you.
YouTube. But if you have the paid version, you can upload a raw footage to Mhm.
Yeah, I think it also depends on, because if you have titles on your YouTube video, because I ran into that issue too. So whenever I have like my intro pop up, when I was plugging my stuff specifically for the podcast, whenever I was plugging in my YouTube videos into Opus Clip, some of them will be clipped with whatever my title was. Because at one point I was showing the title for each point that I was doing on my podcast, which I eventually stopped doing that. But it would kind of be awkward, because then they would put their own words on top of there. And then you see the title in the background, then it's clipped off. So you can't even read the full title. So it just creates another issue. So with the Opus clip, man, I wouldn't recommend you put no titles on it if you're gonna be using that, in my opinion, because it's gonna come out choppy because they're not gonna be able to read the title that you put in the video if you use Opus Clip. But then, like, I would want to use titles in my video, so I don't know. It's kind of like that back and forth. You kind of have to make a decision. Does that help, Shaniqua?
Yeah, because it actually sounds like, I mean, it does upload to YouTube faster. So it would just be kind of a double step, but it would still cut down the time. So to upload to
Yeah.
YouTube first, get the link, let Opus do its thing, and then go edit how I want to edit the actual full clip.
So you're saying, so hold on, wait a minute. So you're saying that you want to edit, you want to upload the raw video to YouTube?
That's what Indiana just suggested, was like to upload it.
I upload them. I upload them
like
to
you do it on
raw in YouTube, and then hide it. Because you don't want anybody to see that. You just hide it. You just need to get the link so that it could be used for your clip.
And it just does upload faster because Opus took like almost an hour to upload that 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's what
So
I experienced too.
that'll be better. What she's saying to do is like, because 20 minutes is like 5 minutes, I think, on YouTube to upload, right? So get the link, listed link. Oh no, it's super fast for me.
Just 5 minutes for a 20-minute video?
No, I say at max, you know what I mean?
What kind of video, what kind of computer you got?
A MacBook.
Yeah, I wish my video would take 5 minutes. My videos normally, I don't have that story. Anytime I upload my video, it's like if it's a 20-minute video, it's gonna take at least 30 to 35. And that's including like processing time, like all the going through the copywriting time, like all of that. You said it only take you 5?
5 maybe?
Wow. Yeah, I don't got that story. Yeah, if it only take you 5 minutes, then absolutely do what Indiana saying then, because 5 minutes, I mean, that's not gonna take you no time. And then you could just, I feel like that would be easier, because I was thinking that's gonna take you a good 30, 35 minutes if you upload, and you got to upload the real one afterwards. So I just feel like that's gonna be more work. But if it's only gonna take you 5 minutes, then that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah. Because I could be editing while it's uploading, to YouTube and
right.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe test it out and see if that does a little bit better. Because Opposite does take a little minute to get your clips, but I feel like it's worth the time, because I mean, I don't know how it does it, but it goes through and finds really good parts in your video to like curate into a short. So they do really good with that.
Yeah, I followed, your direction last time, and I batched yesterday, but I have like 5 videos and they're all 20 plus. Ooh. So I'm not looking. I'm like,
that's what my workflow be looking like. I'll be like, dang.
I've gotten used to 10 minutes on mine, and now I'm like, do I need to talk more if I want it to be?
No, I'm so ADHD, Indiana. So it's like while I was recording one, I'm gonna tell you that story in another video. So then I was like, dang, okay, let me tell that video right quick. But then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna tell you that story in the next video. So then, I talk a lot. Yeah.
Me too. So I definitely understand. Indiana, for you, if you can get it in 10 minutes, do it in 10 minutes. Because if you could do 10-minute videos, you can pump out a lot more.
But the 10 also put on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah. See, I don't use LinkedIn.
And you can do the full 10 on TikTok, the full 10. Because now apparently horizontal videos are getting pushed because they want to do the longer videos. They want to really
trying. I don't see that working. But we gonna see. We gonna see how it works. We gonna see.
No, they don't have the audience for that. I don't think.
I don't think. I feel no. I can't even say that either, because I was gonna say maybe if it was like a tutorial video, because like I'll be watching people cleaning carpets and stuff on TikTok, and sometimes it'd be a little bit longer. But I'll be invested. If it's like something like that, but a talking head video, I don't see it happening. 10 minutes. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. But does anybody else want to share like what their biggest struggle is when it comes to editing videos? I know a couple of y'all been in my inbox, so this your time to kind of express what's going on. I ain't gonna call no names.
Removing the ums for me.
Removing the ums. Oh my gosh. See, I struggle with the so. I don't know why I say so all the time, but for
Me
some
too.
reason that's what I say in my videos, and I'm like, ah. So we'll definitely talk about that. Yandi, I see you have your hand up.
Girl, you know me. I want to know everything. Yes, I spent last night like just really trying to get the hang of things to edit the video and to get some of my problem or my challenge right now is because it's my first rodeo, like cutting that one part and then merging something else to get some of those, unnecessary things out of there. I'm using iMovie now to edit. So far, it's not bad, but it's just to maneuver myself around those things. And if you want to add any like a photo or something while you're talking, like just stuff like that, I'm kind of trying to get into.
And iMovie, that comes on Mac, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes,
What
that's
I
yes.
yeah.
Okay, and that's a free software, right?
It
Yep.
is. And then the
Okay.
tune and all of that.
Okay. So yeah, iMovie is gonna definitely be like the best bet at the beginning stages. I don't recommend any of you, if you're at the beginning stages and you are not tech savvy when it comes to editing, don't try to do all the bells and whistles at the beginning. And I know, Yandi, earlier you had mentioned, I don't know if you was referring to your thumbnails or your videos, but you had mentioned that you was editing your videos on Canva. Is there anyone in here trying to edit their videos in Canva? Drop a
I
yes in the
did,
chat.
and it was really annoying, so I went back to iMovie.
That's what I was gonna say. I played
Yes,
around
it
with
is. It
editing
is
videos
annoying.
in Canva,
Yes.
and I was ready to pull my hair out. I'm like, it sounded good in theory, like, oh, they have editing on here. But I'm gonna tell you right now, save yourself the headache. Do not edit in Canva, guys. Now, you might be able to get away with doing it for like a very, very short video. When I say short, I mean like 15, 30 seconds, like really short, and you're only clipping out the beginning and the end. You're not, I'm gonna show you something else in a second, but if you're trying to edit a 10, 20-minute, I don't even know if it'll let you upload a 20-minute video. But I think the one I was trying to edit was like 5 minutes. And I had to go back to what I use. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. It is an investment, it's a subscription. It is a learning curve, but it will allow you to do all the bells and whistles that you need, adding in the transitions, doing your titles, all the little things that you could do. It does allow you to do that, but there are other platforms that will also allow you to do that as well, and it's free. So if you have Mac, use iMovie to start if that's going to help you. iMovie is a really good one. I don't know if PC has a free version. They used to have a free editing software on their computer, but it's been a while because I've used Adobe Premiere for a long time. I was recommending CapCut, but I have had some people that has had some bad experiences with CapCut with editing, and even I have hopped on CapCut on the desktop, and I don't know whether it was user error or whether, I don't know. I have to kind of play around with the CapCut free version a little bit longer, but CapCut is also a good option. If you're editing on your phone, I recommend, it's called Video Maker. This is what I was editing my videos with before I moved over to Adobe Premiere. I'm gonna try to see if I can find the name of it. If you don't have one already, all of the stuff that I'm talking about is in my YouTube content planner that I sell. If you need me to drop the link to that, let me know, because I have all the editing softwares in there. But it's called iMovie, or no, not iMovie. It's called, it says Video Guru, but on here, when you pull it up, it's called Video Maker, but I think it's by InShot, if I'm not mistaken. That's a free software as well, and you can edit it on your phone. For a long time, I was editing my videos on my phone before I ever moved into doing anything else or using Adobe Premiere. It'll still allow you to add the titles. It'll allow you to add your transitions. You can still add in your B-roll. You can add music. You can do pretty much all the things. It just gets tedious when you're trying to edit a 20-minute video on your phone. So just be mindful of that if you're going to be editing on your phone. Jamia, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, I had a question. How how do you do your music? Because usually I'll go on YouTube and I'll have to screen record copy free music, but I want to find an easier way to use like instrumental music.
So for one, I would not recommend you put music on your videos unless you're showcasing B-roll. If you're showcasing B-roll or doing like time lapse type of content, like what Indiana was talking about earlier, where she's doing a plan with me, and then she's showing the prompt with her journaling in the background, then you can do like an instrumental type of music for that. If you need instrumental music though, I would recommend you get Epidemic Sound. Let me see, Epidemic Sound.com. Now it is a paid subscription, but like I said, I don't recommend you really start with music if you don't need to. Hold on, Epidemic. I feel like that's spelled wrong, but Epidemic Sound. Yeah, that looks right. All right, so don't start with music, and also be careful with the copyright free music because sometimes they could put that as copyright free and they may not plug it at the beginning. Like you may not get a copyright strike at the beginning, but you kind of start treading water whenever you get monetized because you don't want those strikes. So for one, if you're using copyright free music that it claims is copyright, but then it really is copyrighted music, then you're going to get a strike. That's going to make it longer for you. That's going to make it take longer for you to get monetized. And then two, if you're monetized and they hit you with a copyright, you're not going to make any money off that video. And sometimes they'll even have it to where the person that claimed the copyright will get the ad revenue from that video. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. If you're doing a talking head video, I don't even recommend you have music in the background at all. But that's just my opinion. But if you absolutely want music, like if you're doing vlogging or you're going to have B-roll and things like that, then I would definitely look into doing Epidemic Sound. Does that help, Jamia?
That helps. I just feel like it just be a little dry when I'm doing my like, sit down talk videos without the music. It does help though.
I mean, I remember at one point on YouTube, people used the background music. I feel like we're out of that era. For the sit down talking video specifically, you can still do it if you just absolutely want the background music, but I feel that a lot of people find that distracting. So, you can play around with it. I know for me, I started off with background music in mind, and when I go back and look at those, it's cringe. Like the music, I can't even look at the whole video because and I even had the music down, like it wasn't even loud, but it was still distracting because I've become so accustomed to not having music in the in the videos that I watch and the videos that I create, that when I come across a video that has music, I'm like, like you distracted me, so it comes down to your preference, but you also got to keep in mind of your viewers' preference as well. It says free music archive is one, but most people don't know how to use music well. I haven't heard of Music Archive. Is it like musicarchive.com?
Yeah, it's called Free Music Archive. I've been using it for the last 10 years.
Really?
Because I was taught it in my educational media design class.
Let me write that down.
Archive. And then apparently there's another one called archive.org that lets you get royalty free. The part that is the question is, it's not just about it being royalty free, it's also about commercial use.
Yeah.
So it can be free for you to use it, say in an educational type of sense, but commercially you may not be able to.
Right. That's a really good point you just made.
Free Music Archive, like I just Googled it again, and it was like FMA tracks with the public domain conditions and are available to download and use for free without any requirements or permissions. So for the most part, now there are some artists in there that are real artists, and I say real like with quotes, like I saw something from Lil Wayne in there. So obviously, just because it's in there, it is for use. You got to make sure you're choosing something that is.
Right. And one of the things that I did, especially when I started my podcast, the music that I use on my videos now, I got my music from premiumbeats.com, and I actually just paid outright for my music. So I have about I think I have 3 or 4 songs that I paid for. The reason why I don't really recommend for you to use them if you're trying to find music for your YouTube videos is because I feel that Premium Beat is really good if you're doing a podcast and you need like a podcast intro. They do really, really good with that. Now they have a lot of different songs on there, but you pay $50 it was $50 at the time of this recording, inflation. So I don't know if they don't went up or not. But when I was purchasing it, you pay $50, but you get a variety of different what do you call it? You get the same song in like 8 different ways. So you get the intro, you get a 15-second intro, you get a 30-second intro, you get a 60-second intro, and you even get like the full like 2 to 3 minute song. And it's also good for music producers because it gives you like the loops that you could do. They give you stem tracks, all for the same song. So I found that was useful because I use either the full length for my YouTube videos now, which I don't do it now, but when I was starting, I would use the full length track that I had purchased. It gives you commercial usage, it gives you personal usage, and it also gives you like the what do you call it? Like the release form for you to be able to use it. So if for some reason, let's say YouTube gives you a copyright strike or something, or wants you to prove that you are able to use that track, then it gives you the PDF file or your release form for you to be able to show like, no, I paid for this, I'm able to use it. And so that way I don't have to worry about the copyright issues in the future. So I personally haven't ran into any issues using that. But that's just another option. But I know some people, they're not trying to pay $50 per song. So that's why I don't really recommend it. Epidemic Sound is like 1 subscription per month. You just pay that, I think it's like $20 per month, and you have unlimited access to their whole library. Like you could plug in whatever song you want. Really good for vlogging if you want to use multiple songs in one video. I feel like that's a better option. But I like that music archive too, because the free music archive, I'm gonna definitely check that out after this class.
And just real quick, like also, you don't worry about the dryness of this isn't TikTok where people are necessarily trying to be entertained. People come to YouTube for the most part to be educated. So you just want intro, outro, and maybe B-roll music, and that's it. Like don't have it while you're talking. Like it should not be while you're talking.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yanni, did you still have your hand up from last time, or you got another question?
I'm sorry, that was from last time.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and move forward. Now that we kind of talked about the struggles, let's talk about how to edit your YouTube videos. And this is perfect for beginners. So the first 5 things that you want to make sure that you're removing in all of your videos is, for one, someone mentioned it earlier, the repetitive filler words, the awkward pause at the beginning and at the end of your videos. If at the beginning of your video, you can see you like clicking the record button. And then at the end, when you finish, you can see you clicking the record button to end it. That is the stuff that needs to be cut out. These are the very basics of editing a video to make it look a little bit more polished. You want to clip it all the way up into you actually introducing yourself. So you don't even want to have a pause at the beginning. The moment they click on that video, you should be talking, period. The moment you finish talking, you should either be ending it out or transitioning out into an end screen, or it should be fading out, period. Like just gone. That's it. You want to eliminate that, because if it's awkward for us to watch it, like you could just tell whenever you don't edit that part out that that person probably doesn't know what they're doing. I feel that if you're doing like a live or something, it's a little bit different because people know that you did this live, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. For pre-recorded, you want to eliminate the awkward pause. The ums and repetitive filler words. We all fall in this one, okay? Even I fall into this one still. But you want to try to eliminate the ums and repetitive filler words. Now, I do want to add something to this. When you look at your video back, sometimes it's okay to say it sometimes and get away with it. And this is if you're just really trying to save time with editing. But if you notice in your video that you're saying or so every 5 seconds, to the point where now you're mentally counting in your head how many times you've said it because it's that noticeable, you need to edit them out. that like just period. You need to edit those out, because if you're noticing it, trust and believe other people are noticing it. And what happens is it kind of tells people, it sends a message to people that you are not confident in what you're talking about. Every time I hear an interview or I hear people talking and I see that they're constantly using the term like every 5 seconds, it makes me feel like they don't know what they're talking about, or maybe they're uncomfortable talking about what they're talking about, or it just sends off a bad signal. And so that's why you want to eliminate those filler words. And then the long unnecessary pauses. I also fall into this category, and this is why it takes me a long time to edit my videos. You want to have pacing cuts, and I'm gonna get into pacing cuts a little bit later, but you want to eliminate those unnecessary pauses. This includes when you're looking at your script. This includes maybe you're thinking about a statement and you pause for a couple seconds before you start the next part. You want to edit all of that out, where the entire time that the video was going, it's just like you're just going. You're just talking. There's no pauses like that. Now, this doesn't count for the ones where it's an intentional pause. So a lot of the times when you're showcasing your personality, I know like for me, sometimes the pause is necessary based on what I've said. And that's just based on what the statement is or what you're trying to get across. Like if, for example, I'm gonna just use this one because this is what popped in my head. If I say something like, oh, it's okay, if whatever the question is, I've heard this being said like multiple times, it's fine, I'll wait. It wouldn't make sense for me to edit out that pause because I'm initiating a pause. So if I say it's fine, I'll wait, and then I just keep talking, like it doesn't make sense. So obviously make sure that it makes sense, but eliminate the unnecessary pauses. Now, the rest of the 5 things that you want to remove is when you look down at your script, I already brought that up, and any mess ups. Now, the mess ups is relative because sometimes you can include your mess ups in there, but for me, it's something about me knowing that I'm recording a pre-recorded video that I just allow myself to mess up as many times as I need to, but I definitely have to make sure that I edit that stuff out on the back end during post-production. Now, if you can eliminate messing up a lot, that's going to help with post-production. So a lot of the things that you can, one of the things that you could try to do is try to pretend like you're going to do this in one sitting. And some people can do this. Some people can hit record, and once they start talking, they could just flow naturally. I can do that with podcasting. I could do that when I go live, but I struggle with doing that with pre-recorded video. And if you're like me, then you want to make sure if you're restating your statement multiple times, or if you're just straight up messing up, you just glitching and you're just stumbling on your words and you're having to repeat yourself to make sure you drive the point home, then obviously you want to eliminate that stuff whenever you're doing your editing. So now we're going to talk about 5 things to edit to create a polished, high quality video. So these are the type of edits that you want to do when you are actually in your software and you are working on curating your video. The first thing is pacing cuts. And I kind of talked about this earlier. Any unnecessary pauses. And I mean, if you get really, really good with editing, like if you look at my videos, I literally barely have pauses because I edit out every blank second that doesn't make sense for me to keep in there. And those are called pacing cuts. I would not worry about pacing cuts at the beginning stages because it does extend your post-production time. I'm gonna be honest. It take a minute to do pacing cuts. And this is something that is almost like an advanced tip, but I want to give it to you just in case if you're already kind of familiar with doing editing already, then you can add pacing cuts. Also, you want to add titles and transitions. So I know some of you are already adding titles. Some of you are already familiar with doing that, adding the transitions. This is optional, guys. This is just really different ways that you can polish your videos. When you're adding your titles, like one of the things that I do is I add at the beginning, like my name, I add a title that showcases my name and what my profession is. So I have LaShonda Smith and I have content strategist or content creator and content strategist. So you can create titles like that. You can also create titles that showcasing what topic you're covering. And this is specifically for like talking head videos where you're like, okay, so this is the second tip. And then you put in the title what the second tip is. Where do you get your titles? I personally get my titles from, I want to say it's called Envato Market. I'll put it in the chat real quick. This is also an advanced tip. How do you spell Envato? Envato Market. And they have title options for both Apple or Mac, and they also have titles for Canva. I kind of want to show you guys that in a second, but they have titles for both of those platforms. Now, this is when you start using like Adobe Premiere. This is if you're using Final Cut Pro, because you have to purchase the title and then plug it into the software, and it'll tell you what software that the titles are specifically for. But if you're using something like iMovie, they have like default titles that come in there. If you're using the video maker on your phone, they also have titles that come on there as well. And you can just start off with playing around with those type of things. Now, adding B-roll. The only thing B-roll is you recording the behind the scenes of you doing something and then plugging it on top of the video, like your talking video, while you're talking. So if I'm talking about setting up my equipment, even though I'm talking, I'm going to showcase a B-roll clip of me actually setting up my equipment to kind of drive the point home. So the importance of B-roll is it keeps your viewer engaged. So instead of them just looking at you talking the entire time, they get to actually visually see the things that you are talking about. And that kind of helps a little bit. A great way for you to start doing B-roll if you're doing talking head videos is to use the video stock, what do you call those? Stock videos? I feel like that's a proper way to say it. Use the stock videos that are available in Canva. Canva actually has good B-roll videos that you can use. And the only reason why I kind of realized that is because my fiance, he's doing YouTube now, and he's using the stock videos from Canva to plug on top of his videos. So if you're going to use that, you save the video from Canva. So you download it like you would download your thumbnail or anything. And then you use that video and plug it into your videos. So that's how you would do that. But B-roll basically just keeps your audience engaged. Also, adding end screens. Does anybody here not know what an end screen is? Drop a no in the chat if you aren't familiar with end screens, because I feel like I'm using like terminology that people may be unfamiliar with. Let's see. Okay, Indiana, you said no. Is there anybody else here that's not familiar with what an end screen is? Because I feel like I might need to show that so that way you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'll show that in a second. So when you're adding an end screen, that's basically the thing that shows at the end of your video. And normally you can have them subscribe, or you can have them, you can recommend another video that you want them to watch after that. This is also like a more advanced option. If you're already familiar with doing the basic cuts, then you can start creating an end screen. I create my end screens in Canva, guys. So you create your end screen in Canva, and then you just plug it in post-production. Once you create it once, then you can just plug that same end screen in just like a video on all the rest of your videos. So I'll show you what an end screen is on my YouTube channel in a second. And then the zoom in moment. So someone mentioned, I think it was Shaniqua, where you mentioned that you try to do like the little zoom in shots in certain ones and like all the other stuff. And I also do that as well. The zoom ins I really love because it kind of showcases your personality. Now, you don't do zoom ins if you're not showcasing your personality. I think that, and what I mean when I say zoom in, I mean like where you basically just get closer, you make your video closer than what it needs to be, and then you zoom back out. This is the advanced editing tip, but whenever you do your zoom in, it kind of drives the point home and it showcases your personality. So those are like really quirky ways for you to kind of let people kind of know. I don't want to say let people know who you are, what kind of personality you have. It's really good if you're like kind of funny and you're like a little dramatic like me, because in my videos I could be really dramatic. And so if I'm having a dramatic moment, then I will zoom in for a second on the part I'm being dramatic about and then zoom back out real quick. And it's really easy to do. You just crop in temporarily and then it just goes back to your regular once you like said your moment. Says in iMovie, you do that with the cropping option. That's all you have to do. And so just a quick editing tip if you want to do the zoom in. Whenever you're clipping your video, you clip it from the beginning where you want to start to zoom in, and then you clip it after you want it to zoom out. and then you click the part that you just clipped off. So it should be like a small little piece in the middle. And then you just use that and zoom in on that part. I have tried to do this in different ways, and I found that this was the easiest way to do it. I've seen other people do it in different ways, especially in Adobe Premiere, and it was a pain. But all I do now is I just zoom in on that little clip that I want, and it's just so easy. It takes me like 2 seconds. Sound effects is also a really good way to keep people engaged. You can use sound effects as a part of your title. You can use sound effects, or you can use sound effects when you're like showing the logo at the top. So I know one of the ones that I do is I use the mouse click whenever I'm showcasing a logo on the screen. And the logo, because I know someone asked earlier, how do you do like the logos? You save the transparent logo through Google or wherever. Canva has a lot of logos already. But if Canva for some reason doesn't have it, then you just search in whatever the company is or whatever logo you want, put transparent, save that, and then you plug it into your video. And just to make it a little bit more seamless, you just add like a click option to sound effects. You can get sound effects off of YouTube. That's one option. Canva also has sound effects that you can use. So you can use that and download the sound and plug it into your videos. There's tons of ways for you to get sound effects. So if your title pops up, you can add a sound effect. If you're doing a transition, like if you watched any of my videos, I have a swipe transition whenever I'm going to the next topic, and I add a sound effect that does like a swoosh sound to kind of just emphasize like, okay, we moving on, right? So those are just little things that will create a more polished and high quality video. Let me go to the chat real quick. Let's see. In iMovie, you do that. Okay, I seen that one in iMovie. The clip split option, or hold on, I'm just messing that all up. In iMovie, the clip split quick key is Command B. Yeah, that's why I was messing that up, because that was a tongue twister. All right, so let me show you real quick what an end screen is. There's so much for me to learn to get this. Yandi, do not get overwhelmed. This is beginner stuff. I mean, this is like more advanced stuff. The only thing that you need to focus on at the beginning stages is your basic cutting off at the beginning, cutting off at the end. If you have like a couple mess ups in the middle, just learning the basic cuts in the middle. Don't worry about none of this other stuff. This is for once you get used to the basics of editing, then you can start adding this. So the stuff that I just mentioned right now, these are called, to me, bells and whistles. So this is when you're ready to start adding the bells and whistles to your videos. But I don't recommend you add the bells and whistles to the bells and whistles to your videos until after you know how to edit your video like on a basic level. And I'm about to show y'all that in a second. I'm really excited. Shaniqua, you said I use iMovie since 2008. So don't get, yeah, and iMovie is really easy. So I feel like iMovie is beginner friendly so that you can learn the basic cutting and, cutting the different clips and like just doing that. That's going to be a really good software for you to start off with. Should I have an intro and an outro? Definitely do not have an intro. Charvet, do you mean like a pre-recorded intro where you're like showcasing, like, what do you mean when you say intro? Or do you mean like just introducing yourself? You say yes, don't have an intro. The intro YouTube gives you 30 seconds. If you can get someone to watch your video past 30 seconds, they feel like they're going to watch at least 5 minutes of your video, and that will help them know like, okay, I could push this video more. If you have a 15-second intro at the beginning, like you're already losing your audience at the beginning stages. And I'm going to tell you, for the intro lovers out there, the intro is for you because your viewer don't care about your intro. And so I always say this, remember that they came for the meat. They didn't come for you to like, showcase, oh, I'm a coach or I do this and I'm going to help you with this. They don't care about none of that. They're like, what's the meat? Well, I clicked on this because of the title of the video or what you had on your thumbnail. I don't care nothing about what you do yet, right? So you want to keep the beginning short and sweet and definitely don't do a pre-recorded intro. Now for the outro is the same thing as the end screen. That's what I'm referring to when I talk about the end screen. So let me go off of here real quick. Let me see what the next thing is first. Okay, so we'll circle back to this because I don't want to forget to show you guys the end screen. So let me go to my YouTube channel real quick. And I'm gonna show you what I was talking about. Can you, hold on. Is this showing you guys a black screen? What happened? Or can you see like a desktop or YouTube? Oh, let me go off. Jamia, did you put your hand up?
No, sorry, I had that up from earlier.
Oh, from earlier? Okay, gotcha. All right, let me go back. Let me try to share my screen again. Has this been helpful so far, guys? Sometimes I feel like I've been giving out a lot of information. It could be overwhelming. But are you guys finding some tips that you can actually start implementing when it comes to your editing or your thumbnail so far? Let me know in the chat while I'm pulling up my channel real quick. Let's go to view. Okay, good. Okay, good. Because I'll be trying to give y'all everything I got. For real. I'm like, I wanna make sure that I can help you to the best of my capacity. Let's see. Okay, so I'm on my channel. I'm gonna click on one of my videos real quick and show you what my end screen is that I'm talking about. Let's go to this one. Okay, so it has that on there to share a screen or share the sound. Ooh, girl, you better get you one of these. Okay, so when I refer to an end screen, oh wow, I'm gonna go to the very end and give your video the best chance of getting views and getting subscribers on your new channel. But until next time, I'll see you in the next video. This that's about to pop up right here, this is called an end screen. So I'm gonna pause it real quick. So on your end screen, you can have an area where they can subscribe to your channel. You can have an area where they can actually, you can recommend a video. You can either have YouTube recommend what's best for the viewer, or you can pick what video you want to go right here. And what I always do is I just put like a watch this next, just to kind of entice for someone to watch the next video. And the good thing about doing end screens, I love the fact that YouTube will show you how many people clicked on your recommended video on your end screen. So you create this part right here in Canva. So the only thing that I did was I created this in Canva. Hold on, let's see. And give your video the best on Canva, it allows you to do like your animations and stuff. So I basically just use the animation. I use the animation to get me to move around and stuff like that. And the reason why my background is moving differently than my body is because, again, I did that little trick that I showed y'all earlier where I duplicated the image, I blurred out the background, and then I just plugged me in the front. So now I have two layers that allows the background to move separately than me. And I show exactly how I do all of this stuff in the YouTube Academy that I'll tell you about later, but that's essentially what you do. And then at the end, I have it where it kind of reverses and go out. So give me 1 second, it's gonna end. And then it just goes out. So that's what I mean when I say an end screen. That's what I'm referring to. Let me go to the comments. This is very helpful. Okay, good. Worth getting the replays. Y'all get the replays, y'all. I'm telling you, because I'm giving y'all the game. Like I'm giving you the game. Is that an image upload? Shaniqua, what do you mean?
You answered it because I put that up first.
Oh, I did. Oh, okay, good, good. Yeah, so but yeah, so that's how you create an end screen. Was it something else I was supposed to show? Let me go back. I said paste and cuts, adding the titles, B-roll, end screen. Indiana, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
That was my question too. Is the entire end screen a video that you upload, and you have to upload the clip of the video you want them to see as well?
Good question. So you create the animation in Canva. And what I do is I put like a specific time. So like on here, even my presentation, it has like a transition. So I'm using this transition and the timing is for 5 seconds. So you would basically just adjust this to how long you want the end screen to last for. And once you do that, then you're going to download that file as an MP4, as an MP4 file. Once you do that, then you just plug that into your video at the end, just like a B-roll clip, but except it's just at the end of the video. That's basically all you do.
No, I meant the recommended video that you had in there. Is that
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
the video that you downloaded, or is that
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
or is that what YouTube put in there?
Yeah, that's what YouTube puts in there. So you plug that in YouTube Studio. So you create the end screen and you create the area that you know the video is going to be. And then you finish by putting the video there in YouTube Studio. There's like a specific area where you can like add in your end screens and stuff like that. Does that answer your question? And in reference to YouTube plugging it, the reason why I said you can either have them put the video that they recommend or you could choose yours because it gives you options. So YouTube knows what your viewer likes to watch. So they will recommend a video that will keep them on the platform. The downside to this is it's not going to always be your video. It's really going to be based on what that viewer is most likely to watch. So some people use that feature. I personally use that feature because I know YouTube wants to keep them on the platform. And normally they'll start recommending more of your videos as you keep getting pushed. But if you're at the beginning stages and you find that when you get to your end screen, they're recommending other people, then you can put specific videos you want to go next. So a perfect example is if you're doing a 4-part series, and let's say you're on part 1, and you're recommending for them to watch part 2 in your next video, well, you might want to put the part 2 video as a part of your end screen video instead of letting YouTube recommend what's best for the viewer because it's a part of a series. But it does give you the option to do either one. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
I have a follow-up.
Go for it.
So I'm starting a brand new channel. So I don't have other videos. What would you just recommend, like, for right now, you let them do what they do, and then when you get the next one?
Yep, just let them recommend what's best for viewer. You can always go back and change it later.
Okay.
I still let them recommend what's best for viewer on my channel. So unless it's like a really specific video where I'm like, no, I want you to watch this one next, I always just let YouTube do it. Because at the end of the day, I want YouTube to choose what's best to keep them on a platform, because if the video is not performing well, then you kind of run into the issue. If you're plugging another video of yours, it's almost like a catch-22. So I want YouTube to do what's best because YouTube know better than I do. At the end of the day, unless it's like a series or something like that, then I'll kind of plug it. But you can also, if I'm not mistaken, you can also plug in playlists as well at the end. So I think that's a really good option too. If you have a playlist that you want them to watch, so they can click on that and then they can pick what video they want to watch. But I will say that option is not utilized as much. Does that help, Shaniqua?
Yes, it did.
Okay, good. All right. So did anybody else have any questions? We're almost done, guys. Let me check the chat real quick. Make sure I don't have anything new in there. Okay, good. All right. So I already hit on some of these things. I'm gonna just quickly go over the 3 things that you could do during recording to make editing easier. So if you mess up, instead of feeling like you have to start all the way over, like from the beginning, just pause and restate the sentence that you messed up on. I learned this the hard way because I would mess up and then I would do a run-on sentence where I would just kind of finish what I said, but then in post-production, it was a pain because now I got to find a way to plug these 2 parts together, and it just didn't work out the way that I needed to. I missed a word, or you could tell that it was edited in short. Like I could tell that I edited it. Yeah, and so I found that if I mess up at any point, I need to pause and say the whole thing again, because it's not worth the risk of me just finishing my sentence. And then when I try to put those 2 clips together, it's just not working out. Like it just doesn't, and I can't really explain you. If you've edited at all and you've done this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to save you the trouble. If you mess up, just pause and start again from the top of whatever sentence it is that you're stating.
Other suggestions?
Go ahead. Some.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you, because like for right now, the how I'm having to record, until I get an external mic from my camera, because I don't want to use the phone. I've been using Zoom. So, and
Okay.
so it's an okay, camera. And so, what you can do is, as you're recording, if you mess up and you want to end there, because you don't want to have to go looking for the clip, you can stop recording and then restart a recording. And that way you have several clips and it'll be easier to clean it up. Another suggestion is to physically tell yourself, so that when you're looking back real quick, this is a edit spot, like, you can wave your hand or whatever thing you want to do to signal yourself that here's where we're editing. Or you
Yeah, that's a really good tip.
thing here
Yeah, that's
and
just
edit
okay.
that out, because I did that.
That's a really good tip, actually. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
put it here because I don't use that tip often. But you really made a really good point that may be helpful for someone if you're dealing with a lot of mess ups at the beginning stages, because it could be intimidating when you're first recording. So talk to yourself in the video, guys, if you need to. Worst case scenario, there's been times where I've said certain things and maybe I was going for like 3 minutes. And then I realized, I'm like, okay, that was kind of like a rant or a ramble session. And then I'll say like, yeah, take that whole thing out. Like I'll say it out loud, like take that whole part out. I'm going to restart, da 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 da. And it's helpful in post-production because then I'm like, I was kind of thinking, I'm glad you said that. So then I know for sure, like, don't keep that in there. So that's one thing that you could do as well. I also want to add, because you mentioned like doing multiple clips, and you can do that. Sometimes though, having multiple clips can be a hindrance when you're in post-production, depending on how you do it. So this is like if you're doing vlogs, or maybe you're doing a sitting talking video and you're like pausing, stopping, recording, stopping, recording. Sometimes this could be a bad thing because what will happen is whenever you upload all your videos, unless you're going to look at every single video and like label what each video is, now you just got like 6 clips, just using that as an example. Now you have 6 clips and then you plug them in. You better hope that they upload in order, because I know on Adobe Premiere, they don't like to upload your stuff in order. You have to manually kind of adjust or pre-label them beforehand. So now you have more work on the back end. What I find that works a little bit better for me personally, take this with a grain of salt, but I just record one video. I don't pause. The only time I'm going to actually stop the recording is if I'm just messing up so bad that I'm starting all the way over from the beginning. Like maybe I'm 3 minutes in and it's just not hitting, because I do that where I'm just like, no, I'm not, I need to do it again. Then I'll stop and I'll start all the way over. But I don't touch my camera when I start recording, unless I'm doing like the plan with me is like what I was talking to Indiana about, where I literally have to pause it because I'm doing a time lapse or there's other elements involved where it doesn't make sense to keep doing it. But if I'm doing a sitting talking head video, I'm going to record that whole thing and then I'm going to have one clip to edit. You, at the end of the day, have to do what you feel is going to be the easiest for you. And another thing that you could do during recording that will make it easier in post-production is to use a video script. And when I say use a video script, I mean a video script that has bullet points, not full statements and full sentences. So whenever you're using a video script, you basically just need something to reference to make sure that you stay on topic and make sure that you get your message across. And so this is going to help you keep from rambling. If you find that you ramble a lot in your videos, like maybe you're long-winded, maybe you have a lot that you want to talk about, use the bullet points, because this will keep you from having to eliminate or edit out 3-minute rambles or 3-minute rants that you had no intention on talking about in that video, but you just kind of had a moment and now it's just in there. It kind of help you eliminate those type of situations. Let me go to the chat. Yeah, I started using clips.
For
Nobody
me,
records straight through. Yeah, I find that me recording just one video is just a lot easier in post-production. For me personally, I don't like having a lot of clips. Now, does anybody have any
for
questions? Oh, go
for
ahead.
my first video, I guess that's what I did wrong. I basically had or do have quite a number of clips. What I did is that it's kind of easy for me, but not easy. I had to go through all these clips. Then I started on iMovie, started uploading the different scenes in order, which will make it easier to edit. However, I get it what you're saying to do one video, because now when I need to clip out those unnecessary parts, I'm lost. Like, how do I clip this out and then join it with whatever else I want to say? So next time I'm going to try my best to definitely do one recording, regardless of the mess ups.
Absolutely. Yes. And Shaniqua, she brought up something really good. And this is something that I also do not. So the pausing is relative. It really just depends on what's going on. So she said with Zoom, if you do pause, it's a full clip. And so, yeah, same thing applies. Like if you're using your phone specifically to record your content, you can pause the video on your phone and then hit record to like keep going or whatever. And once you stop, it's still one video. So the goal is for you to just have one video clip at the end of the day. So I love that you mentioned that with Zoom, like if anyone's using Zoom to record their content, if you hit pause, it's just gonna automatically stop from where you were in the video and start where you hit record again, but it's still gonna be in the same video clip, if that makes sense. So if that's helpful for maybe you need to hit pause at the end of your statement and then look down at your stuff. I just find that doing the pausing, it just create more work because you got to edit out the pause. You know what I'm saying? So, and when I say you got to edit out the pause, for me, I know my remote does not allow me to pause my videos on my phone. So I would literally have to hit pause on my phone in order to do that. The only time that makes sense for me to do that is if I'm changing my angle, if I'm doing something different in the next clip, then I'll pause it because I still want that one clip. I'm gonna pause it and then I'm gonna hit record when I'm where I need to be. So there's different ways that you could do it, but keep it as simple as possible. That's the end goal. I feel that when you have multiple clips, you get overwhelmed because now you either have to look at all the clips, at least the beginning, to know where you are. And sometimes you still be confused about where this clip's supposed to go at. Like where it's supposed to be in here. So it just eliminates those issues. So now I'm going to show you my little tip on what you could do if you want to do some quick edits, you want to get your videos out really, really quickly, and you want to be able to edit in less than 10 minutes, and you don't care about the bells and whistles. This is for I don't care about the bells and whistles person. This is for you if you can sit down and talk all the way through your video and not have to edit in the middle stages. If you can get that, this is going to be like really, really helpful. I actually just used this recently on our couples channel, me and Michael's fiance or fiancés, me and my fiance's couples channel. I just found out about this. So I'm going to go to my YouTube studio. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but did you guys know that YouTube has an editing tool in YouTube Studio? Did you know that? Because I didn't know that. I was like a couple days ago old when I realized that YouTube had an editing software in here. They also have an editing app. It's Android users only though. It's like if you're trying to edit on your phone, they have a free app that you can use to do that. But I want to show you specifically how to edit in YouTube. So this will allow you to upload your raw video and be ready to go without using anything else, okay? So I'm really excited to show this. So let's go to my content. I'm just going to use the last video that I created because, I mean, I'm not going to really, this is already unlisted. Hold on. It's done completely logged me out of my account. I'm like, what is this? It's a whole nother account. Oh, let me go over.
Hey, I had a quick question.
Go for it.
So again, as a new channel, because I was gonna use my old one, it had like 355 subscribers, but I just wanted like totally branded and I didn't want to lose my name over there. So I brought it over here, like the handle name. When you are like I said, starting all the way over from the scratch, how do you load 3 videos first, or are you doing it one at a time on your schedule?
I would still start off with one. I would start off with one. If you absolutely want to make sure you have 2 videos out in the first week, do one maybe on Tuesday and do another one on Thursday. But I wouldn't upload multiple videos at one time.
Okay.
Just because you want to make it as simple as possible. And it's easier to spread them out to give you time to get more content up versus you just uploading all of them at once, because the first videos are not going to get pushed like that regardless. So you might as well just start off with your schedule and then just ramp it up as you can. Because you're not going to get a lot of viewers at the beginning, unless you just so happen to tap into a niche or industry that's just really, really in high demand. And then those videos might take off. But just to keep it simple, try to start once a week. If you optimistic and you really want to come out with multiple videos, do one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, and just kind of go from there. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I
All right.
have a question. Sorry.
Okay. You're good.
Like how we were talking earlier regarding recording, and I told you I did them in different clips. Even though I'm editing it in iMovie, when I'm uploading it to YouTube, would it be uploaded in those different clips, or is it going to upload as one video?
It should upload as one video. So whenever you export your video from whatever software you're using, it's going to upload one video. And then that's the video that you would upload to your YouTube channel.
And is it on the YouTube channel, or when I'm doing that is when they will be asking for the thumbnail and all of that, and the end video, I have to put those in even while I'm doing it in iMovie.
Right. Yep.
I do it on YouTube or iMovie?
Some of your thumbnails?
Yeah, like when I'm doing like to upload the thumbnail, it's gonna go after uploading the video, like I can put it in on YouTube separately and they will have that, or it has to be on the video.
Got you. So whenever you're doing your thumbnail, when you upload a video to YouTube, it's going to give you an area where you actually upload your thumbnail. So you're going to do those separately. You'll be uploading those separately, but it will be under the same video.
Got it.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I'm just clicked on like a random video that's on my account. This one is actually unlisted, but I want to show you if I wanted to edit this video, how I would do that. So I'm going to come over here to the side, and as you can see, it says editor. So I'm going to click on editor. Let me make this small so I can see. All right. So like I said, this is for some simple edits. This is for someone, if you could do a talking video and you just really need to get that first part cut off, get that last part cut off. So this one is already edited, but I just want to show you how to do it. So you can put this anywhere that you want, but what you're going to do is you're going to come up here to trim and cut. And now I have the ability to start this video later on. And you really you'll watch it obviously to see where you want to start. And let's say I want to clip it to right here. All you have to do is drag this to the area. And what will probably be easier, because I noticed with this, when you put something right here and then you try to drag it, you see how that moves. It takes you out of position. So drag this where you want or play it and then pause it. And you see how it has a timestamp right here. So it'll be a little bit easier if you use a timestamp to kind of know exactly where that spot was that you want to clip. And then if you want to clip the end of it, all you have to do is drag this wherever you want the end to be. Now you can also do new clips as well. So let's say I want to make another cut. I have a mess up or something in here somewhere. Let's say I'm watching, I'm like, okay, I want to edit this part out. I could actually do a new cut. And it's going to give me the ability to kind of trim it where I need to trim it. And I'm just picking something random, guys. But let's just say this is the area I want to trim. And then I'm going to hit play or hit check that I want that part trimmed. And you could just keep doing this in different areas that you want to trim in your video. And let's say if I want to play it, it's probably going to sound crazy because this is already edited, but
then I'm going to teach you how to get your already have YouTube subscribers.
And it's just going to go to the next part. So this is, honestly, if you just want a simple video to go out, I feel like this is a game changer. And the reason why I stumbled across this method is because we don't edit our couples videos like that on YouTube. And I was trying to find an easy way to not have to go all the way to Adobe Premiere, because it takes a minute for Adobe Premiere to get, opened up, just to trim off the beginning part and the end part. Like that's literally the only part that I edit on our YouTube videos. And I stumbled across the editor on here and I was like, oh man, this is really, really cool. So this is one thing that you can utilize on your YouTube videos. If you just want something simple, this is going to help you push out more videos faster. But while I'm on here, I just want to show you this other thing that I've seen as well. You know how, I don't know if you've ever seen in a video where people use the blur feature and like they have something blurred out in the background. Maybe they're like around their car and they're like blurring out their tag. I always wondered how they did that. Well, I just figured it out. So in this editor, it actually has a blur feature where you can like blur out different stuff on your video. I was like, I did not know that you could do this. So, it's definitely some different stuff on here that you can actually utilize that's like really simple. Hold on, let me go back to it. That's really simple that you can utilize, and it's free, y'all. You upload the video on here and then that's it. Why is this one not moving? It looked like it's loading or something. Oh, let me exit out of that one. Okay, there we go. So I just wanted to share this with you guys because yeah, editing can be complex. Don't get me wrong. Editing can be a lot. I know it can. But if you can learn the basic editing tools and even start on YouTube, I think that that's going to help you pump out videos faster. So let me know if that was helpful in the chat real quick. Like, are you going to try to use the YouTube editing tool for your next video? I think that a lot of you guys should, especially if you're at the beginning stages. Yandi, I think that if you try the YouTube editing tool for your beginning video that you're about to do, I think that that's going to really save you some time. And the blurring tool, I'm going to use that because I didn't even know that was on YouTube. So,
well, for the blurring, I realized in one of my clips that I was talking, and while I'm saying bye, I had that remote thing to stop your video. I had it in my hand. I'm like, how am I gonna get this out? That's crazy.
It happens for sure. Like I said, you get better over time. You're gonna find different things that you wish you didn't show in your videos, and you're just gonna look back at it when you're recording. You're gonna be like, dang, I didn't mean to include that in there, so it just comes with you getting better over time, guys. At the end of the day, they're not gonna be perfect at the beginning, but the goal is for you to just continue learning as you go, start adding more things on as you learn, as things get easier for you, and try to make this process as simple as possible. Because like someone mentioned earlier, you can easily be editing a 20-minute video for a couple hours. And so if you're trying to push 2 to 3 videos a week, then you have to understand that post-production is going to take you some time. So I'm trying to find different ways to make this process a little bit easier for you guys. So that way it doesn't feel like it's so much. It doesn't feel as heavy. So now at the end, let me make sure I hit on all my questions that I wanted to ask you guys. So on a rating from 1 to 10, how do you feel about creating your next thumbnail or editing your next video after this training? Let me know in the comments. Drop a 1 through 10 on how you're feeling about editing or creating your next YouTube thumbnails. Oh, I got a 10. I'm loving that. That's really, really good. I love to see it. Let me see what everybody else, 1 to 10. How do you feel about editing your next video or editing your next thumbnail after this information? I got another 10. That's really, really good. 7 only because even with tips, editing just doesn't exit me. Why you say that, Indiana? Let's chat. 7 is not bad though. 7 is like you feel a little confident in doing it.
I mean, 7, I'm good, but only because editing just don't excite me at all.
Oh, excitement. Yeah, okay, got you.
It's just a lot going on with it. But like I said, I feel like if I find the right software, I'll be good. And I do want to eventually get up to doing more than 1 video per week. But
okay,
until I get the editing part down pat, I can't increase
Mhm.
it. Because right now, if I batch record, I'm batch recording 4 at a time, then I got to record them, got to edit them, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
get it to where I'm not waiting to the last minute to try and record and edit. So I try to give myself, the first 2 weeks of the month to record the next month's videos, and
Mm.
record and edit the next month's videos so that I'll have time in between to do other stuff because I got a rigorous publishing schedule I got going on this year too. So
Right, yeah.
trying to, get my YouTube schedule, down pat too as well. But then
Okay, gotcha.
there's
Yeah, editing can be a beast, guys. I mean, I could provide all the tips in the world, but at the end of the day, when you're editing your video, depending on what all you're doing, it's gonna take some time. It is. It's gonna take some time. I'm telling you personally, I'm going to be hiring out for my editing eventually. And when I say eventually, I mean really, really soon. I'm in talks with a couple people to find an editor for my videos because it is time consuming. And I find that editing my videos at the capacity of like everything that I include, it can take hours. And if you're spending hours on editing your content, obviously it's going to slow you down on how often you can post. And so when you find that your editing is taking up a lot more time, if you can outsource, what I would recommend for you to, if you absolutely want to outsource your editing, get your editing style down first. Like this is what a perfect video to me would look like. And then try to get an editor to replicate that because you don't want them to start putting their own bells and whistles on there. And this is something that you didn't even really like, they're creating their own editing style for your videos. You want to create your editing style and then outsource to someone that can replicate what you already like. That's going to help you out a lot. So I know we're at time. It's 3:04. I dropped some links in the chat. Make sure to RSVP if you haven't already to our virtual launch party. It's also going to be another live training where I'm going to be sharing 5 key things that you need to do after you post your first video. So I know multiple people in here today, they've already posted a video and you need to know how to optimize your YouTube channel from day one so that you can start making money from day one. So we're going to talk about that and celebrate the fact that you've posted a video this year. I also have the link to my YouTube Launch Academy. I'm not going to really go over it today because we're at time, but click the link if you are interested in learning more about the YouTube Launch Academy. We start next week, so enrollment is open now. And then if you have more questions about the enrollment or you have questions about the YouTube Academy in general, I also dropped my 15-minute enrollment call link so that way we can hop on a call and kind of talk a little bit more about your YouTube channel and see if the YouTube Launch Academy is a good fit for you. But before we hop off, does anybody have any ending questions, any feedback, anything that they would like to share before we go? You could just come off mute if you want, or you could drop it in the chat. All right, so no last comments or anything. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for sticking with me and showing
I
up
think
for day 2. Oh, go
I think
ahead.
my question, sorry, was just about, do you optimize videos or you optimize your entire channel?
Optimizing your entire channel. So that's including your videos in your channel as a whole.
So that's something you do one time or it has to be done frequently?
It's ongoing. It's something that you do one time to set the tone, like to start it off, but then it's also something that you're going to be doing ongoing whenever you're uploading your videos.
And that's what, like with keywords and stuff like that?
Yep,
And the
I'm
hashtag?
gonna go over all the things that you need to make sure that you have in order to set your channel up to start making you money when you're posting your videos, even at the beginning stages.
You're gonna go them over, you said?
Yep, tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if that is included in the does that include in my replay as well or no?
It is.
It
Yep, you're
is.
gonna get the
Okay.
replay. Yep.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, thank you
Okay.
guys so much for sticking with me. I'm glad you guys came today. I'm glad that this was helpful for you all. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the wrap up free training. So